Chapter 2025. Of course you can, but I'll say this first. If you want to cultivate, you should cultivate until you're good at it. Don't cultivate until you're half-baked. If you go out and expose your secret, you might even lose your life, Knight Sorrow said. After hearing Knight Sorrow's words, the three commanders knocked their weapons on their breastplates to acknowledge the order. They knew that there was a huge gap between them and the First Army. They also knew that there was originally a gap, but it was not as obvious as it was now. After Knight Sorrow appeared, the First Army had undergone earth-shattering changes. None of the three commanders in the Heaven Wasteland Army could fight against the First Army. Even if they joined forces, the three commanders did not have the confidence to fight against the First Army. If everyone has no problem, then I, Knight Sorrow, will naturally have no problem. Grand Elder, I'll take this job. Knight Sorrow turned to the Grand Elder and nodded. The Grand Elder nodded and then returned to the tent with the Golden Dragon King and the others. He conveyed the order. Knight Sorrow had successfully taken over, so he did not have to worry about the rest. Back then, when Knight Sorrow took over the First Army, he was worried. Today, Knight Sorrow took over the three commanders, so he was very relieved. The First Army will have 11 teams. The 1st and 11th teams will each guard 2 stations. The other 9 teams will be divided into 3 groups and temporarily be incorporated into the 3 commanders. They will cultivate the formation and attack together. I'll give you half a year. If you can't satisfy me in half a year, scram back to the Heaven Wasteland City. You're not soldiers under my command, Knight Sorrow. Knight Sorrow shouted to the Heaven Wasteland Army in front of him and then left. Some things could be left as long as he passed them on. As for why he did not assign the God-slaying team a task, Knight Sorrow had thought about it. The God-slaying team was friends with the soldiers of the First Army. They had fought together and received recognition, but they did not have much interaction with the 3 commanders. He was worried that they would not be recognized because of the difference in their cultivation. Knight Sorrow went to the big tent of the camp to report to the Grand Elder and the other elders. I told you, you brat, you don't have any problems. You're still trying to push me around. Anyone would want this opportunity. Being powerful is a symbol of strength, and having a lot of people under your command is also a symbol of strength. If you have a few Heaven Wasteland Army under your command, you can just flatten the entire family of whoever dares to mess with you, the Golden Dragon King said. Ahem. Knight Sorrow is the virtuous king. You can't teach him that. I don't know if it's right for you to stay on Reincarnation Island with Knight Sorrow, the Grand Elder said as he looked at the Golden Dragon King. It's the same whether he stays on Samsara Island or not. For the sake of the dragon language, he has no complaints about being banished to Heaven Wasteland. Acknowledging the dragon language as his sister and letting the dragon language marry grandly without suffering any grievances is giving us, the dragons, face. Our dragon race will always remember the kindness of others. Besides, who is the dragon language? I'm the crown princess of the Golden Dragon clan, the princess of the Black Dragons. He is Long Jin's brother, which means he is this king's nephew. Therefore, Grand Elder, you also understand some things, the Golden Dragon King said. Commander Knight, I am the Black Dragons, Long Feishue. If you need anything, the Black Dragons will definitely be there, the Black Dragon Great Elder said. Thank you for your kindness, seniors. Long Jin and Long Yu, we've fought side by side, and we've been through life and death together. Taking care of them is what I should do. Yishan cupped his hands toward the Golden Dragon King and Long Feishue. Generous. Grand Elder, you don't have to say. Even the Lord of Heaven Wasteland City isn't as generous. He has always put the interests of the human race first. He won't even let us be on the celestial demon list, Long Yixing said. Last time, he was taught a lesson by the Lord of Heaven Wasteland City. Long Yixing was very resentful. Knight Sorrow smiled. He also agreed with what Long Yixing said. Last time, when the Black Phoenix clan leader made a scene, the Lord of Heaven Wasteland City, Tran Hung, said that regardless of the overall situation of the celestial realm, he was a human. It was obvious that the interests of the human race were the most important. Why are you guys involved in the celestial demon list of the human race? If you have an idea, why don't you suggest to the Lord of Heaven Wasteland City to create an emperor list of the 100 Races Alliance? The Grand Elder glanced at Long Yixing. That's a good idea. Fame is the motivation of all cultivators. Who doesn't want to be famous? This king will discuss this matter with the Lord of Heaven Wasteland City later. The Golden Dragon King was more supportive of the Grand Elder's idea. The other elders of the 100 Races also nodded. Only with competition would there be motivation. Yixing, Feishue, the natural environment of the Reincarnation Island is quite harsh, but it is also a good place to improve one's cultivation. In the future, when the descendants of the dragons become emperors, they will have to come to the Reincarnation Island to train for a few years. You guys decide the time. The Reincarnation battlefield will become the Reincarnation Island. The Celestial Realm will take this territory. The dragons will take it. The Golden Dragon King said to the Azure Dragon King and the Black Dragons. After chatting for a while, the Grand Elder left with the other elders. The Heaven Wasteland City needed to be guarded. They could not afford to be empty. After Long Yixing and Long Feishue arranged for their subordinates to deliver some news, the two of them also stayed on the Reincarnation Island. The people of the 3 divisions, the soldiers of the First Army, and the members of the God-slaying team were all cultivating hard every day. They were cultivating the new joint attack formation that Knight Sorrow had created based on his years of experience in the art of formations. Yi Shan also went to check. When he saw idiots, he would really scold them. He even used the blood chill and evil punishing spear's shaft to whip them. They were whipped until they didn't make a sound. This was because they knew this step was to increase their strength and increase their chances of survival. Listen up, you are all born and raised by your parents. You are all the treasures of your parents. Living well means being filial to your parents and elders. Living well means being filial to your parents. Living well means being filial to your parents. Living well means being responsible to your parents. Living well means being responsible to your parents. If you can't cultivate well in half a year, you are not suitable to fight under my command. Scram back to where you came from. After walking around the arena, Knight Sorrow scolded. Never be a scum. Never be a deserter. Never be a coward. The people of the 3 divisions responded to Knight Sorrow with angry roars. This kid is really good at deceiving people. In the main tent of the base, Long Yixing said to the Golden Dragon King. Nice words don't mean anything when they come out of your mouth. It has been a few eras, and the mayor of the city hasn't made anyone feel bad. Why is it that he doesn't like you? You should learn how to talk in the future. Knight Sorrow is not trying to deceive people, he is trying to understand what they care about. He is trying to put himself in their shoes, do you understand? The Golden Dragon King threw a glare at Long Yixing. Long Yixing was slapped by the mayor of the city, and Golden Dragon King was not happy about it either. He felt embarrassed, but Long Yixing was really not a good person. B unspecified currency Yongjiu said, you are the leader of the dragons. You call the shots. Long Yixing turned around and looked to the side. Don't you know what you need to do right now? The Golden Dragon clan has Long Jin who is close to Knight Sorrow. The dragon language of the Black Dragons and Knight Sorrow are siblings. What about the Blue Dragons? He is the most dazzling human emperor in the past few eras. Why don't you build a good relationship with him? Are you stupid? The Golden Dragon King looked at Long Yixing and said angrily. Then I'll arrange a few good seedlings from the Azure Dragon tribe to stay by his side right now. Long Yixing immediately came to a realization after hearing the Golden Dragon King's words. Hurry up and do it. Also, you don't know the ways of the world. Just remember one thing. Whoever he doesn't like, you don't like them. Whoever he curses, you beat them. That's right. The Golden Dragon King said. Chapter 2026. Qin Qinjie felt a bit lucky. The Golden Dragon King had asked Long Yixing to ride on Night Sorrow's coattails. If Long Yixing were to ride on someone else's coattails, the whole world would be in chaos. Long Yixing was famous for his coattails. Otherwise, he wouldn't have had a conflict with the city lord. He only listened to the Golden Dragon King, Long Batian. After thinking for a while, Qin Qinjie realized that Night Sorrow's strength was terrifying. Among the 100 races in the celestial realm, perhaps only the 3 giants could compete with him. In the celestial realm, other than the human race, the most powerful races were the mythical beasts. First, the dragons. If Night Sorrow was in trouble, the Golden Dragon King would definitely support him, and so would the Black and Cyan dragons. Secondly, the blood scale race. Chirue's family owed Night Sorrow a favor, and they were friends with Night Sorrow. If anyone messed with Night Sorrow, they would definitely stand on his side. The Cyan Rock race was the same. They were also friends with Night Sorrow. The descendants of the Nine-Tailed Fox race were all under Night Sorrow's command. If something really happened, the Nine-Tailed Fox race wouldn't hesitate to help. The situation between Night Sorrow and the Ice Phoenix race wasn't clear, but everyone knew that the new Ice Phoenix race Empress was close to Night Sorrow. They weren't blood relatives, but they were closer than blood relatives. Qin Qinjie knew about Wu Lingfei's situation in Star Moon City. The real giant of the Ice Phoenix race would solve this problem when they showed up. From a human's point of view, they wouldn't have any conflict with Night Sorrow. In the end, their relationship would be harmonious. The mythical beasts were powerful, and they were Night Sorrow's solid allies. However, they weren't Night Sorrow's strongest ally. Night Sorrow's strongest ally was the Divine Capital, one of the 2 cities in the celestial realm. Night Sorrow was the heir of the Divine Capital. Everyone in the celestial realm knew this. In addition, Night Sorrow had Star Moon City, the Chaos Realm, and the Humanitarian League. The Humanitarian League was a combination of several major forces. Its strength was recognized in the celestial realm. Look at the original unspecified currency, version chapter OU1 the general trend is set. He has accumulated such a strong foundation. Scary. After pondering for a while, Qin Qinjie muttered to himself. There were some things that he wouldn't feel if he didn't think about it. However, when he thought about it, he discovered some shocking information. With the Golden Dragon King's words, Long Yixing and Night Sorrow became much more enthusiastic. They often chatted with Night Sorrow about useful things. While Night Sorrow was a little puzzled, the Azure Dragons brought a few young juniors. They were 3 celestial emperors. Commander Knight, your subordinates are all elites. These guys are also elites. Can you take them in and let them work for the 100 races in the celestial realm? Long Yixing brought the Azure Dragon's elites to Night Sorrow's tent. Sure enough, Azure Dragon King, your wine is poisonous. After drinking a few jars of your wine, I have to do something. Night Sorrow sighed and said. It's not like that. We drank wine because of friendship. It's different from the Azure Dragons Juniors joining the Heaven Wasteland Army to work for the 100 races in the celestial realm. Long Yixing said awkwardly. Then, Azure Dragon King, did you tell them about the rules of my subordinates? Night Sorrow thought for a while and asked. I did. If they don't follow the rules, you can skin them alive. I won't say anything. You have the final say. Long Yixing patted his chest and said. All right, follow me to the first place to report. Night Sorrow stood up and said, "The wine is here. Let's come back and drink." Azure Dragon King took out a jar of wine and placed it on the table. Night Sorrow looked at the Azure Dragon's outstanding juniors. Although they were juniors, each of them had lived for more than 100,000 years. After joining the team, the first thing you have to do is to integrate. You are the elites of the Azure Dragons, but after joining the team, you have to lower your status and get along well with everyone. The more friends you have, the more exciting your life will be. Night Sorrow said to the 3 celestial emperors of the Azure Dragons. "Leader, thank you for your advice. We have heard about you, so we feel honored to be your subordinates. Thank you for taking us in." A woman among the 3 celestial emperors said. She was Long Yixing's daughter, the princess of the Azure Dragons, Long Wei. She had told Long Yixing that she came here as an elite junior of the Azure Dragons. "You are welcome. Since you are willing to serve the races of the celestial realm, I have no reason to keep you out. Let's work hard together." Night Sorrow nodded to Long Wei. When they arrived at the first army, Yishang handed Long Wei and the other 2 over to Zhuodong. He asked the team in the first army to take care of Long Wei and the other 2 during cultivation. After that, Night Sorrow and Long Yixing went back to their own tents. "Night Sorrow, I thought you would arrange for them to go to the other 3 territories, but I didn't expect you would arrange for them to go to the first territory directly under your command." "Thank you." Long Yixing cupped his hands at Night Sorrow. "Azure Dragon King, I trust the elites you have chosen. Besides, I don't think it's appropriate to arrange for them to go to the other 3 territories. They will think that I have arranged for them to go to the first territory. Besides, I can see them at any time. That way, Azure Dragon King can rest assured." Night Sorrow said with a smile. The Azure Dragon King nodded. He was indeed happy. Originally, he had thought that Yishang would only arrange for Long Wei and the other 2 to join the other 3 great generals. He would not arrange for them to join the core First Army or the God-slaying squad. The peaceful days passed. Night Sorrow's true body was cultivating in the depths of the void vortex. He was comprehending at a high speed in the accelerated time. Sometimes, his children would take the teleportation array to Samsara Island to deliver tea to Night Sorrow. Sometimes, they would accompany their father and mother to drink. Night Sorrow suggested to the Council of Elders that the entire celestial realm should be hunted down for Mo Tianji. Mo Yutian returned to the Devil Imperial City and met with Mo Zhantian. His face was gloomy. The expedition to the Reincarnation Island had suffered a great loss. They only managed to bring back Mo Liu. Both Xiang Long and Suo Yuan, who had undergone the tribulation of 3 sovereigns, were left behind on the island. "Seems like we have to change our strategy. If this continues, we will be at a disadvantage," Mo Zhantian said. "If we can't fight them head-on, we will be restrained. I am preparing to go through the tribulation of 9 emperors. If I succeed, I will cultivate the soul and soul as one. Then, we will be able to fight them head-on." Mo Yutian's eyes were filled with anger. He had never suffered a loss in so many years. He was one of the 3 great heavens of the demon-winged clan. This failure made him lose face. "That's fine. If we can't fight them head-on, we will be in a passive position. I wonder how the heavenly concubine is doing." Mo Zhantian was more worried about Mo Tianji. "Her path hasn't been smooth these years. I can't say for sure. I will go through the tribulation. When she returns, it will be the time for us to fight the 100 tribes of the celestial realm," Mo Yutian said. Chapter 2027. For a long time, in the war between Heaven Wasteland and Celestial Realm, Heaven Wasteland was in a passive position. They couldn't break through Heaven Wasteland City on the Nirvana Ocean Bridge and enter the Celestial Realm. When the Celestial Realm was at its peak, the 100 Race Alliance's cultivators once reached the core of Heaven Wasteland, but they couldn't break through the Devil Imperial City's defenses. Therefore, they couldn't win. In other words, the Demon Wing race's defenses were stable. What they needed to do was to attack. Since they couldn't break through the Devil Imperial City, the Celestial Realm 100 Race Alliance could only rely on Heaven Wasteland City's defenses. This situation determined the situation. If Heaven Wasteland was strong and had a strong defense, they would naturally win the war. Therefore, the Celestial Realm 100 Race Alliance had always been the one who dared to fight head-on. However, because the Devil Imperial City changed the energy structure of Heaven Wasteland, the Demon Wing race had the advantage. In these years, the Celestial Realm 100 Race Alliance didn't launch any attacks. Following the end of the war on Reincarnation Island, the situation stabilized and returned to its previous path. The difference for Night Sorrow was that he spent the first 700 years in a deep sleep. Now, he was cultivating at a high speed. 4 years had passed in the real world and 100 years had passed in the time acceleration. Yishang's void attribute had reached the Emperor rank. This meant that only Yishang's Wuji attribute was below 90% while the others were all above 90%, reaching the peak Emperor rank. However, after 90% of the world's momentum was deduced and comprehended, the speed slowed down. That was because everything that could be absorbed and comprehended had already been comprehended. The remaining momentum of the world was very little, making it even harder to grasp and comprehend. The 3 divisions on Reincarnation Island were actually 4 divisions. This was because the first division and the God-slaying team were considered one division. These people had broken in very well, and they had also understood the array formation's joint attack. Yishang had told those who could not cultivate well to scram, but the people from the 4 divisions had all stayed. Everyone had worked hard and had not been chased away. Everyone also understood that Yishang's strictness was for their own good. Over the past 4 years, Samsara Island had also been flattened by the Heaven Wasteland Army of the 4th Command. They had conducted a thorough investigation without any blind spots and had set up teleportation formations in some areas. This meant that if a war broke out, the Heaven Wasteland Army of the 4th Command could rush to any part of Samsara Island at any time and start the war at any time. For Night Sorrow, 4 years of training had been quite fruitful. However, in the grand scheme of things, in the Celestial Realm, 4 years was nothing more than a grain of sand in the passage of time. "Brother, come out and drink." Dragon Language went to Night Sorrow's tent and pulled Night Sorrow to the training field. At this moment, a large python was being roasted in the training field. "You bunch of bastards. Look at what you've done to the training field." Night Sorrow said helplessly as he was pushed back into his seat by Dragon Language. "Boss, just wait and eat. Stop scolding people." Long Nan pushed Night Sorrow to his seat. Long Nan was from the Azure Dragons, so he came to the first territory with Long Wei. "I'm impressed. Where's the wine?" Night Sorrow looked at Long Nan and asked. "You'll have to ask Chief Steward Liu about this. She's in charge of the wine and resources," Long Nan said with a smile. He and the other troops on Samsara Island knew that Night Sorrow could not tolerate any mistakes when it came to training and fighting. He could even be said to be very strict. However, Night Sorrow was very casual in his life, and could even be said to have no principles. There were some things that Night Sorrow saw and did not see. "You guys did well. Good, very good." Seeing that everyone was harmonious, Night Sorrow was also very happy. Night Sorrow had instilled the concept of relying on brothers in battle into the Heaven Wasteland Army of the 3rd Command. Therefore, a harmonious scene was what Night Sorrow wanted to see the most. "Boss, there's no more fun on Samsara Island. When are you going to bring us to the Heaven Wasteland Mountain and fight our way to the Demon Imperial City?" Flower Without Words looked at Night Sorrow and asked. Everyone looked at Flower Without Words with a hint of schadenfreude in their eyes, because Flower Without Words was asking for a scolding. Night Sorrow did not scold anyone. He lowered his head and thought for a moment before looking at Flower Without Words. It's good to have this idea. However, we're still too weak right now. I can't bring you guys to die, but we have to go. Then when are we going? Flower Without Words was so excited that his face turned red. Wait. We'll talk about it when we're strong enough. With our current strength, we'll be chopped up and roasted like this python. Night Sorrow glared at Flower Without Words. Flower Without Words didn't say anything because he knew that Night Sorrow would never bring his brothers to die. Little brat, you don't know anything. Come, Night Sorrow, let's drink. Long Yixing took a jar of wine and sat beside Night Sorrow. Everyone, let's drink. It's necessary to train hard, but it's also necessary to relax. Night Sorrow took out 2 large wine bowls and took the roasted meat that Dragon Language handed over. After eating, Night Sorrow left. Sister Yu, why haven't we seen the commander's main body? Long Wei looked at Dragon Language and asked. It's hard to see brother's main body. I can't even see my sister's-in-law because he's always in closed-door cultivation. Therefore, there's a huge gap between us. From what I know, my brother has reached the peak Emperor rank in 3 attributes. Dragon Language said. Amazing, that's really amazing. Peak Emperor rank in 3 attributes, 1,000 years old. The commander is 1,000 years old. Long Wei's face was full of shock. She knew that Night Sorrow was an Emperor rank, but she didn't expect Night Sorrow to be this powerful. Little girl, you don't understand. Don't you know what these 3 attributes mean? Long Jean, who was sitting beside Dragon Language, said. Then tell us, let us know a bit about the commander. Long Wei asked. At the same time, many people gathered around. Everyone was very interested in Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow was too mysterious. After managing the other 3 commanders, Night Sorrow didn't fight, but his battle experiences were always spread among the 3 commanders, or rather, the 4 commanders. Supreme Attributes. Captain's 2 supreme attributes are both at the peak Emperor rank. The 3rd attribute isn't simple either. It's the time and space attribute of 2 advanced attributes, also at the peak Emperor rank. This should satisfy your curiosity. I can easily crush you with any one of them, so hurry up and work hard on your cultivation, Long Jean said. This is equivalent to 2 advanced attributes. Both supreme attributes are at the peak Emperor rank. This is too frightening. Long Wei's face was full of shock. I wonder when Captain's life and death attributes will be cultivated. Tianyu muttered. He entered the Emperor rank 2 years ago and was an expert under Night Sorrow. The commander also cultivates the life and death attributes. More people interrupted. He didn't differentiate between life and death attributes a long time ago. After life and death attributes are fused, it's a limitless attribute. I don't know much about it. Tianyu said. Chapter 2028. After returning to the tent, Night Sorrow looked at the array diagram he had drawn and nodded in satisfaction. While his main body had been cultivating for the past 4 years, his clone had been studying array formations when he had nothing to do. His array Dao cultivation was now at the Emperor level. There was no news about Imo-Tianji in the past few years, which was within Night Sorrow's expectations. Imo-Tianji had been dormant for more than 700 years after she was injured last time. This time, she would be dormant for a long time. Long Jean, Tianyu, and Night Sorrow's wives went to Night Sorrow's tent. Why didn't you continue to drink with them? Night Sorrow said after rolling up the array diagram. Brother 13, I have a big mouth. Everyone asked about you just now, so I told them a little, Tianyu said. That's nothing. There's nothing that can't be told. We are upright people. There's nothing that can't be said. Knight Sorrow smiled. Tianyu, you misunderstood me. I was thinking that Knight Sorrow could have more trump cards, Yang Lei said. She knew that Tianyu was a little embarrassed because of her interruption. Ninth senior sister, you are right. We should have some trump cards. Tianyu nodded. Go ahead. Knight Sorrow patted Tianyu's shoulder. He didn't care about these things at all. The people from the Human Tao Alliance often came to Reincarnation Island. They had nothing to do anyway, so when they had time, they would come and chat with Yishan. They were all friends who had fought together, so their friendship ran deep. Pu Luo told Knight Sorrow a piece of news. 1 year later, the Celestial Realm would hold a meeting of heroes. It would give the elites of the Celestial Realm a platform and a chance to stand out. The heroes' competition was a competition between heroes. According to the cultivation level, it was divided into 4 levels, which meant that there were 4 lists. First, there was the Rank 8 King Realm Cultivators. It was called the Single King List. The participants of this list could only be at the Rank 8 cultivation level, which corresponded to the Rank 8 King, King and Lord of Heaven. The next 3 rankings were the Heaven, Earth, and Mortal rankings. The Heaven, Earth, and Mortal rankings corresponded to the 3 stages of the Emperor Realm, Monarch Realm, and Emperor Realm. The Human ranking was for the Imperial Realm. It was a competition between 1-star and 3-star Imperial Realm cultivators. The top 30 people on the Human ranking would be rewarded by the Elders of the 100 Clans. The top 10 people could customize a weapon or armor. The bottom 20 people would also be rewarded with certain resources. The Earth ranking was a ranking that Imperial Lord level cultivators competed for. It was also a ranking for the top 30. The rewards were more generous than the Man ranking because the custom-made weapons and armor were at the Imperial Lord level. The resources were also more generous than the Man ranking's rewards. The Heaven ranking was for the Emperor Realm cultivators to compete for. It was also for the 7-star Imperial Lord level cultivators to compete for. After receiving this news, Knight Sorrow smiled, not bad. It gives the cultivators a reason to work hard and give them a chance to stand out. Elder Lin and the Great Demon King are qualified, but they are not qualified to become Emperor Tribulation cultivators. Rui Si, Yu Zhu, and Fen Tian are all qualified. The only one from our Humanitarian League who can participate is you. Everyone agrees that since the Heaven ranking is out, our Humanitarian League has to take it. Pu Luo said with a smile. Okay, I understand. Knight Sorrow nodded. Pu Luo and the others wanted him to participate. Okay then. When the time comes, we will cheer for you. Pu Luo said. Now, the Humanitarian League was managed by Jun Xuanji and Pu Luo. After chatting with Pu Luo for a while and sending him off, Knight Sorrow went to the martial arts arena and beat the war drum twice. Following the beating of the war drum, the Heaven Wasteland army of Samsara Island gathered. Only a small portion of the Demon Mountain stronghold was not in position. Don't be nervous. There are no urgent orders, but there are missions. 1 year later, the 100 clans of the Celestial Realm will hold a meeting of heroes. What is the meeting of heroes? It is a gathering of the elites. Knight Sorrow explained the situation and rules of the meeting of heroes to his subordinates. Commander, can we participate too? Long Nan asked. Yes. Now it's time for me to make a strategic request. Only the God-slaying squad will participate in the competition for the King ranking and the Emperor ranking. When you go, you must finish drinking the first place of the King ranking and take back the first place of the Emperor ranking. If you can't, I will ground you on Samsara Island. Chuyu, call Qingyan, Xiaolei, and Lingxi to the God-slaying squad. Knight Sorrow looked at the God-slaying squad and said to Sikong Chuyu. Yes. The members of the god-slaying squad knocked on their breastplates. We are from the chaotic domain, but this time, the god-slaying squad of the Heaven Wasteland army will be participating in the battle, Knight Sorrow said again. After briefing the god-slaying squad, Knight Sorrow looked at the other members of the Heaven Wasteland army and said, the first place of the Earth ranking will also belong to the Samsara Island. If you can't get half of the 30 places, you will be grounded for 100 years. The Heaven Wasteland army is made up of elites, so we will use the Emperor ranking to prove it. Yes. No one felt that Knight Sorrow's request was unreasonable. Instead, they were very excited to hear Knight Sorrow's words. Everyone has been working hard to cultivate, but what can prove that we have worked hard? What can prove that our hard work is useful? This meeting of heroes is a chance to prove it. The Heaven ranking. The three of you, as well as the other Emperor Realm members, work hard. I don't ask for much, as long as you can get 3 places on the Heaven ranking, Knight Sorrow said and turned to leave. Everyone, work hard. Being grounded for 100 years isn't a big punishment, but it's embarrassing. Can we afford to be embarrassed? Shi Qing, one of the 3 commanders of the Heaven Wasteland army, said. Luckily, the great commander didn't ask us to get the first place of the Heaven ranking. That would be terrible, Nan Yong, another commander, said. Are you stupid or what? Will the great commander participate? If he participates, will he ask us to get the first place of the Heaven ranking? Shi Qing looked at Nan Yong and shook his head helplessly. At this moment, Shi Qing came to a realization. He then looked at the first leader and the god-slaying team. We can't do anything about the king ranking and human ranking. It's up to you guys. If you fail, you will have to bear the wrath of the great leader. The consequences will be severe. The mission is heavy and the pressure is great. I sympathize with you guys, Shi Qing said. In the following days of cultivation, Knight Sorrow strengthened some people. For example, speed, strength, soul attack, defense, etc. Shi Qing, Nan Yong and Song Jingang benefited a lot. Song Jingang was the other commander of the Heaven Wasteland army. After strengthening the Emperor Realm members of the Reincarnation Island, Knight Sorrow left, leaving behind Nan Yong, Shi Qing, Song Jingang, Long Jin, Tianyu, and the others. Lin Yun was also rubbing her shoulders. Strength. This strength is too scary. Let's work together. Is the great commander playing with us? Nan Yong said as he rubbed his lame leg. Chapter 2029. Human Emperor. The great commander is a human emperor. Once he fully matures, he will be the pillar of the 100-race alliance. How can we compare to him? Nan Yong muttered. This isn't a reason. He is more hardworking than us. I have to admit this. Lin Yun said. Lin Yun, you have to take a spot this time. There is still a gap between us and you. Song Jingang looked at Lin Yun and said. When the Blood Qilan Mountain was attacked by Long Zhe, Lin Yun was a peak 8-star emperor. However, she had been there for a long time and had accumulated a lot. Later on, she entered the Blood Qilan Mountain race to cultivate and entered the peak emperor rank. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. Knight Sorrow had strict requirements for the members of the god-slaying team, especially Yilingxi. Knight Sorrow would strengthen her combat cultivation every day. Concubine Chuyu, my father is too strict. During the break, Yilingxi said. A treasured sword's edge is sharpened. If you want fame and fortune, this is your chance. You have to grasp it. Soul Destruction / Afterimage Body, Time Vibration Wave, Spatial Revolving Dragon Kill, and Time Realm. Knight Sorrow drank a mouthful of tea and looked at Yilingxi. He felt that Yilingxi had more hope in the King Realm contest. Father, don't worry. Lingxi won't disappoint you. Yi Lingxi bowed. Don't feel pressured. Just do your best. Knight Sorrow nodded at his son. While they were talking, Datura and Yi Xiaoluo arrived. Father, I want to participate too. Yi Xiaoluo said. It's fine if you want to participate. However, as a 2-star emperor, you will be at a disadvantage. You will be at a disadvantage in the battle for the human ranking list. Your brother is a heaven monarch and is at the peak of the 8th rank. Hence, I called your brother here, said Yi Xiang. Being 1 level lower is a disadvantage, but it doesn't mean there is no chance. I plan to give it a try. Yi Xiaoluo said. Father, I don't know about 4th brother's situation after he reached the Imperial Realm. Before the Imperial Realm, he was able to fight against people of a higher realm. Yi Qingyan said. She and Yi Xiaolei had already withdrawn from the meeting of heroes. They were more outstanding, but Knight Sorrow felt that it was not enough. Knight Sorrow nodded in agreement. Yi Xiaoluo's potential was the highest among his children. He also believed in Yi Xiaoluo. He placed the 8-dragon cauldron in the encampment and told the artifact spirit that it was open for everyone to enter, to help everyone speed up the cultivation of their combat abilities. Long Jin, Tianyu, and Yi Mei bid farewell to Knight Sorrow and left. They were going back to the clan to cultivate and increase their strength. The Golden Dragon King's clone left with Long Jin and the dragon language because he was the only senior in the Golden Dragon clan. Knight Sorrow guided his 2 sons, the Emperor of the Heaven Wasteland Army, and the members of the God-slaying team to cultivate their combat abilities every day. After half a year, Knight Sorrow's destruction attribute reached 91%. According to the normal course, Knight Sorrow could undergo the heavenly tribulation. However, if he did, he would not be able to participate in the meeting of the 100 races in the celestial realm. After thinking for a while, Knight Sorrow gave up on the idea of undergoing the heavenly tribulation. It was mainly because of his conversation with Qin Chenjia that Knight Sorrow decided on this idea. Qin Chenjia told Knight Sorrow that if the 100 Races Alliance wanted to be stable, they had to have a core. Currently, apart from the human race, no other race could do this. It was very important to stabilize the human race's position. Qin Chenjia did not know about Knight Sorrow's situation. She only told him her thoughts based on the current situation, because she knew that in this meeting of heroes, the Heaven Wasteland army of the 4 armies of the Samsara Island would perform well. Since there was nothing else, Knight Sorrow refined weapons and armor for Yi Nianxiao, Yi Lingxi, and Yi Xiaoluo. Brother, you're cheating. Yi Nianxiao said after trying out the weapons. This is soft power. Don't tell me that we don't use weapons or protective treasures to fight. Knight Sorrow smiled. He had refined weapons, armor, and sold defensive treasures for his family. In the past, Knight Sorrow could not refine soul defensive treasures mainly because he did not have an inheritance. Now, he could refine them because his cultivation in the Tao of Formations had improved. He used his own ideas to imitate the Green Lotus Jade Bracelet. The principle and structure were all based on the Green Lotus Jade Bracelet. My thinking was too extreme. Yi Nianxiao nodded after hearing Knight Sorrow's words. Cultivate diligently. We don't need those rewards, but we need fame, because it's a way to increase our luck, Knight Sorrow said. Father, what about you? Yi Qingyan pulled Knight Sorrow's arm and asked. If it wasn't for this meeting of heroes, would have gone to attempt the Heavenly Law Emperor Tribulation right now. For this matter, I'll have to wait for another half a year. Knight Sorrow smiled. Heavenly Law Emperor Tribulation. Brother, are you crazy? Yi Nianxiao looked at Knight Sorrow in astonishment. In the past, the Yi clan's level was low, so they did not come into contact with many things. However, the Yi clan was different now. Other than the guidance given by Knight Sorrow, the 3 commanders of the Heaven Wasteland army also gave guidance to the members of the God-slaying squad. It's all right. You should work harder too. Look at Tianyu, you're lagging behind by a lot, Knight Sorrow said as he patted his sister's shoulder. Although he could not attempt the heavenly law Emperor Tribulation, it did not affect his cultivation too much. Knight Sorrow's original body continued to cultivate his comprehension of the heavenly law. Time passed steadily. Knight Sorrow, who did not feel tired in the past, now felt tired. He was really not good at cultivating the Wuji attribute, so his progress was very slow. Knight Sorrow felt that if he wanted to have achievements in the Wuji attribute, he really needed time to accumulate and settle down, bit by bit. In the blink of an eye, a year's time was coming to an end. Lu Qi came to inform Knight Sorrow that the meeting of heroes was about to begin. He first expressed his gratitude to Lu Qi, thanking him for guarding Star Moon City. Knight Sorrow, we've known each other for a long time. Aren't you embarrassed by thanking me like this? There were a few things that happened, and I didn't manage to keep watch. Lu Qi sighed. Don't say that, 7th Clan Elder. It's true that there were some mistakes, but under Mo Tianji's scheming, it's enough to keep Star Moon City safe and my family safe. Knight Sorrow said. We don't have to be polite. Make the arrangements and head to Heaven Desolate City. Don't let the first place of the Heaven leaderboard fall into the hands of others. Lu Qi said to Knight Sorrow, his voice a little soft at the end. After Lu Qi left, Knight Sorrow gathered the Heaven Desolate army. Nan Yong, Shi Qing, Song Jin Gang, you guys go and discuss this. Leave 1/3 of the army to guard Reincarnation Island, and the rest to return to Heaven Desolate City. Also, go and negotiate with the Heaven Desolate army around the First Army's encampment, and change the encampment. After instructing Knight Sorrow, he went to the Golden Dragon King's tent. This king is already clear about the situation. This king's clone is here, so there won't be any problems. You have to work hard. The dragons won't be able to do much in this meeting of heroes, so it's up to you. The Golden Dragon King said. Chapter 2030. Don't underestimate the other races of the celestial realm. It isn't easy for emperors to fight above their ranks. You guys should set off. This king will bring his dragon gold body and dragon language and set off from Dragon Island. The Golden Dragon King said. Alright, I'll bring Little Purple to Heaven Desolate City. I'll know what's going on in Reincarnation Island and we'll rush back. Knight Sorrow nodded at the Golden Dragon King and left the tent. He kept the 8-dragon cauldron and returned from the Void Whirlpool to merge with his clone. This year's meeting of heroes had a rule that only the original body could fight. Clones weren't allowed. If clones fought and killed randomly, it was easy for problems to occur. Because of the rule, Knight Sorrow's original body ended his cultivation. Knight Sorrow's true body was dressed differently from his avatar. In front of others, his avatar looked more refined. His robes and hair were neat and tidy. However, the original body was different. The original body's aura was very strong. His loose robes were rippling from the aura. In order to feel the feeling of stepping on the ground, Knight Sorrow didn't wear battle boots and his hair was untidy. Set off. Knight Sorrow stepped onto the teleportation array. What's the situation? Why is the Great Commander's aura so strong? Seeing Knight Sorrow's figure disappear into the teleportation array, Nan Yong let out a sigh of relief. They are both peak emperors, but the difference is too big. Even Emperor Tribulation cultivators aren't this strong. Who on the heaven list can compete with him? Shi Qing patted Nan Yong's shoulder. Song Jin Gang nodded. They knew that in this meeting of heroes, no one could compete with Knight Sorrow. Anyone who tried to fight him would be asking for a beating. Hey, do you guys think that Dong Zhenyue will participate in the meeting of heroes? He used to flaunt his strength and said that he wanted to challenge Sect Elder Lin and the Great Demon King. His tone is so arrogant. Nan Yong waved his hand to let the Heaven Desolate army start the teleportation and asked Shi Qing and Song Jin Gang at the same time. That idiot. I don't know. We have learned a lot from the Grand Commander. If he dares to participate, let's teach him a lesson, Shi Qing said. The encampment of the First Army is relatively close to the encampment of Dong Jinyue's subordinates. The three of us went there to ask for a change. If he refused, we would kill him and his subordinates. Did he think he could scare people just because he had the backing of the Great Guardian's cousin? We also have backers. The Grand Commander isn't afraid of trouble. He even dared to kill Yu Kuan, so why would he be afraid of the Grand Protector? Nan Yong said. Song Jin Gang and Shi Qing nodded. In the past, they had been angered by Dong Jinyue, but because they couldn't afford to offend him, they endured it. Now that the three of them were under Night Sorrow's command, they trusted him. Night Sorrow didn't care about any background. They knew his style very well. After returning to the Infinite Wasteland City, Night Sorrow took his wife and children to his mansion. After making arrangements for his family, Night Sorrow went to the Infinite Wasteland Tower and cupped his hands. At this moment, energy suddenly appeared and wrapped around Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow was stunned for a moment, but he didn't resist. He only came to show his respect to the origin of the celestial realm. Night Sorrow went to the Infinite Wasteland space, and the origin of the celestial realm appeared. Night Sorrow greets the Universe Sovereign. Night Sorrow cupped his hands towards the origin of the celestial realm. You are welcome. You are the Realm Lord of the Nine Domains world, and you will be the Realm Lord of the Supreme World in the future. You don't have to be polite with me. Sit. A chair appeared behind Night Sorrow. It's okay. Recently, some problems have appeared one after another. I need time to accumulate them. There is still an era left in this reincarnation. I hope there is enough time, Night Sorrow said. It will be enough. You are the person with the most prosperous fate in the celestial realm over thousands of reincarnations. You don't just have the fate of the celestial realm, you also have the fate of the celestial realm and the Nine Domains world. This is unparalleled. In addition, you have cultivated your virtue and become the virtuous emperor. Therefore, even if the road ahead is bumpy, it will be smooth. The origin of the celestial realm sat down and said, I will work hard. I must ensure the stability of the Nine Domains world. I promise the Universe Sovereign that I will guard the celestial realm for a period of time. I will do my best to do so, Night Sorrow said. You can do it. If you have any problems, you can come to me. Helping you is also helping myself. Therefore, I will not be stingy. The origin of the celestial realm said. At this moment, in the Grand Elder's small space world, Tran Hung and the Grand Elder were drinking tea. Night Sorrow entered the Wasteland Tower. The Universe Sovereign invited him in. The Universe Sovereign thinks highly of him. Tran Hung said. That's a good thing, said the Grand Elder. We've lived for a long time, and even in the Great War of the last reincarnation, the world's sovereign never showed his face. However, in recent days, he has shown up a few times, all for Night Sorrow. Actually, I am very puzzled. In the past reincarnations, why is there no genius who can compare with Night Sorrow? The speed of his rise in 1,000 years is simply unimaginable. Even if he is the Merit Emperor now, it is only a matter of time before he becomes the Merit Emperor. Tran Hung shook his head and said, Let's not talk about this anymore. This year's meeting of heroes is about to begin. City Lord, you should preside over it. The Grand Elder said. Okay. Originally, the Celestial Demon list was to encourage human cultivators. Now that other races are also interested, let's do it. Do you think they can do it? Do you think they can snatch the first place? Tran Hung snorted. The Grand Elder smiled. He knew that in Tran Hung's heart, the stability of the celestial realm was important. The development of the human race was also equally important. Night Sorrow and the origin of the celestial realm conversed for a while before arriving at the Grand Elder's small space world. Sit. Our Reincarnation Island's great commander has returned. It's not easy. The Grand Elder said with a smile. Grand Elder, you're exaggerating. Night Sorrow said as he sat down. The Heaven Wasteland army of the Reincarnation Island has returned. I've seen it. It's different. Indeed, it's different. 3 generals. If only there were 30 generals. The Grand Elder sighed. Don't. Grand Elder, please don't make any other arrangements. I'm already too busy with my own matters. Night Sorrow was stunned for a moment before he hurriedly said. Ha! Let's just let nature take its course. Now that you've returned, I won't say or ask about other matters. However, you've taken the first place of the heavenly list. You've reached the Emperor's tribulation level. Tran Hung observed Night Sorrow as he spoke and saw Night Sorrow's cultivation level. Yes. Half a year ago, I planned to undergo the Heavenly Law Emperor's tribulation. However, I didn't go because the meeting of heroes was imminent. I planned to undergo the tribulation after the meeting of heroes. After that, it doesn't matter if I'm still on the heavenly list. I can't stop improving just because of this ranking. Night Sorrow said. The arrangement is reasonable and your thoughts are correct. Take the heavenly list first. As for the ranking, it's only temporary. During this period, no matter how much you improve, as long as you're not defeated by a challenger, your ranking will not change. Tran Hung explained to Night Sorrow. UF version 70,000 first release. Night Sorrow, you can occupy it first. Relax and occupy it for a period of time. After the meeting of heroes, seize the opportunity to undergo the tribulation and directly rush forward. Raise your cultivation level. The Grand Elder nodded at Night Sorrow. Chapter 2031. That's fine. If I don't get killed, I'll keep occupying it. Night Sorrow laughed. Killed. You have no confidence in yourself. The Grand Elder shook his head helplessly. He knew that Night Sorrow was joking because no one in the Emperor realm was stronger than Night Sorrow. As for the future and the speed of improvement, they believed that only Night Sorrow could catch up to others. It was almost impossible for others to catch up to Night Sorrow. Then, the Tran Hung asked Night Sorrow about his cultivation. I did encounter some problems. The other attributes are fine, but the infinity attribute isn't very compatible with me. My cultivation speed is a little slow, said Night Sorrow. Infinity attribute. I'm fine with that. I'm stuck with the spacetime attribute and it's not compatible. How many years has it been? 8 eras. It's almost the 9th era. I've been grinding my spacetime attribute, but I still haven't made any progress. I've also mastered the reincarnation attribute. After so many years, the spacetime attribute is still at the Emperor realm. Here are some of my cultivation experiences. Take a look and see my understanding of the infinity attribute. The Tran Hung took out a book and handed it to Night Sorrow. Holding the book, Night Sorrow hesitated. City Lord, this isn't appropriate. What's not appropriate? We humans must rise. On this point, all of us humans must work hard, said the Tran Hung, simple. Night Sorrow, just write down your experience and feelings of cultivating the spacetime attribute for the City Lord, the Grand Elder said with a smile. Night Sorrow nodded and stood up. I didn't prepare for this. Night Sorrow will come to see the City Lord and the Grand Elder later. After greeting them, Night Sorrow left. After returning to his residence, Night Sorrow took out a pen and paper, and then wrote down his understanding and comprehension of the spacetime attribute. He also wrote down the situation of the destruction attribute. Cultivation experience was an inheritance. Only cultivators who had been cultivating for a long time or cultivators whose future was uncertain would consider passing it down. Night Sorrow was still young, and it could even be said that the path of cultivation had only been open for a short period of time. He had not considered these things before, so now he had to write them down. Night Sorrow wrote it very carefully. This was a form of respect for his own cultivation and his Tao. So serious. Have some tea first. Lin Piaomiao poured a cup of tea for Night Sorrow. Sikong Chuyu and the rest also sat by the side. You have to be serious about this. You can't be careless, Night Sorrow said as he stretched his waist. As he wrote down his thoughts, Yi Shan asked about his son's situation. Father, my second and fourth brothers are both Emperor Realm cultivators. They are unable to participate in the Rank 8 King Realm and King ranking competition. I will leave the first place in the Yi family. Yi Lingxi was full of confidence. He was very talented, and he had been cultivating Night Sorrow's battle technique recently. I don't have any advantage in the Emperor Realm. In fact, I might even be at a disadvantage. However, this is not the most important reason for victory or defeat. I am also confident. Yi Xiaoluo also patted his chest. Yi Xiaoxi, you are always boisterous with us. If you dare to drop the ball at a crucial moment, I will crush you to death. Yi Qingyan looked at Yi Xiaoluo and said. Big sister, don't worry. I am also a peak 2-star Emperor Realm cultivator. I am only a little bit weaker than a 3-star Emperor Realm cultivator. The difference is not that big. What matters is actual combat strength. Yi Xiaoluo hugged Yi Qingyan's arm and smiled. How are the effects of the void steps in spacetime realm? Night Sorrow asked Yi Xiaoluo after putting away his pen. It is already done. However, it is still a little lacking. Yi Xiaoluo nodded seriously. Yi Xiaoluo was born with the space and death attributes. His time attribute was a little weaker. However, when he was in the King realm, he used the space attribute as his theme and comprehended the spacetime attribute. Therefore, he was able to cultivate the void steps in spacetime realm. Mastery of the flames requires time. It is not something that can be achieved in a short period of time. In addition, you all must remember that the battle technique that I have researched and imparted to you all is most suitable for me. After you learn it, you must use it as a reference and add in your own understanding. You must make it your own. Night Sorrow said. This was what King Yewu and the Grand Elder had told him. He also had the awareness in this aspect. Therefore, he reminded his children so that they would not take the wrong path. Father, the battle technique that you imparted can be changed. Yi Lingxi looked at Night Sorrow in surprise. Why not? You are not stupid. Don't you have your own thoughts and understanding? Night Sorrow glanced at them. They feel that what you say and research is definitely correct and perfect. Sikong Chuyu said. Father, who are you? How would we dare to think of changing your battle technique? Yi Xiaoluo said softly. Equals 0s first y first, stupid. Your father's battle technique will not be wrong. However, it is your father's and not yours. Use it as a reference. Do you understand? You are infuriating. Lin Piaomiao slapped the back of Yi Xiaoluo's head. Mistress Piaomiao, please don't hit us. We have never thought of it. We need to slowly accept it. Yi Xiaoluo smiled at Lin Piaomiao. In the Yi family, no one was an outsider, and no one treated them as outsiders. Yi Shang's wives all treated the children as their own children and educated them. You deserve it. You are asking for a beating. I have explained it so clearly, but you still do not understand. How did I give birth to such an idiot like you? Datura gave Yi Xiaoluo another kick. Yi Xiaoluo did not make a sound. If he made a sound, the entire family would teach him a lesson. Let's not talk about it. I am also conflicted. I hope that you will achieve something, but I don't want you to feel pressured. Night Sorrow said. Father, we understand your thoughts and attitude. You don't have to worry. We understand that you care for us. Using the words of my grandparents, they say that you dote on us. Yi Qingyan said. Standing up, Night Sorrow smiled. You are all sensible. I am truly blessed to have you children. Work hard. Night Sorrow gave a thumbs up to his children and left with his wives. Originally, I was very scared and did not dare to speak to father. Father's reputation is too great. However, it seems that he is much easier to communicate with than my parents. Qin Xin said. Yi Yujun patted his wife's shoulder. Father did not spend much time with us. He has been working hard to give us a stable life. He has been working hard for the stability of the 9 domains world and for the primal chaos realm. Actually, I am not talking about father's achievements. In terms of himself, he is a great father and a very soft-hearted father. This time, we have to do well. The meeting of heroes is the time to let the various races in the celestial realm know about our Yi family. Yi Xiaoxi, Yi Xiaowu, if you too dare to fail, I will not forgive you. Look at my face. I am serious. Yi Qingyan stared at her 2 brothers and said. Chapter 2032. Yi Qingyan was the big sister and loved her younger brothers and sisters very much. She usually liked to joke around, but when she was serious, her younger brothers and sisters would listen to her. My cultivation is not good enough, so I'll have to trouble you too. Yi Qingyan nodded at her 2 younger brothers. Big sister, don't worry. Yi Xiaoluo smiled and pulled Yi Qingyan to sit down. Yi Xiaoxi, your smile is too cheap. I wonder who will like your cheap face in the future. Yi Qingyan sat down and said. Big sister, I'm not happy to hear that. Everyone I know says that I'm very sunny. Yi Xiaoluo mumbled. After returning to the heavenly desolate city, Yi Shang walked around and visited the people he knew. Then, he went to the divine capital. After exiting the teleportation array and looking at Yawa Mountain, Night Sorrow pondered for a moment and did not go there. King Yawu might be cultivating in seclusion. Night Sorrow went to the Humanitarian League's headquarters. Jun Xuanji and Zhu Jiuyun were very happy to see Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow was the realm lord of 9 regions world and their backbone in the celestial realm. Shiryu also appeared and cupped her fists to greet Night Sorrow. King Yawu left Reincarnation Island and went to the city lord's mansion to announce Yi Shang as the young city lord of the godly capital. It was much more formal than before, so anyone who belonged to the godly capital had to greet Yi Shang. Uncle Shiryu, why are you so polite? Night Sorrow nodded to Jun Xuanji and Zhu Jiuyun and asked Shiryu to sit down. I'm not being polite. This is the rule of Shendu. Young city lord hasn't come back for a long time, Shiryu said after sitting down. Night Sorrow has been busy cultivating. Also, Reincarnation Island needs someone to guard it. Night Sorrow took the tea from Jun Xuanji and handed it to Shiryu. Young city lord is very promising and charming. This is good, Shiryu said with a smile. While chatting, Night Sorrow told Shiryu about Imo Tianji's situation. He believed that if Imo Tianji were to make a move in the future, there was a high chance that she would attack Jun Xuanji and Zhu Jiuyun. Don't worry, young city lord. There won't be any problems here. Shiryu also understood the connection and importance between them. There's no need to guard the ethereal empire's Night Moon Manor. Uncle Shiryu is too busy, Night Sorrow said after thinking for a while. He felt that it wasn't very appropriate to occupy Shiryu's main body and clone. Young master, you don't have to worry. I'm doing very well in the Night Moon Villa. It's quiet and peaceful, a peaceful place in a chaotic world. There aren't many places in the celestial realm that are more suitable for cultivation than the Night Moon Villa. Sure, you said with a smile. She knew what Night Sorrow was thinking, which led to such an arrangement. After that, sure you went to the lotus pond that he couldn't catch no matter how hard he tried. Keep an eye on the fish. Night Sorrow said to Jun Xuanji with a smile. That lotus pond is now under Jiuyun's care. Ha! Jun Xuanji glanced at Zhu Jiuyun and said. 9 Original Y Initial V Release. Night Sorrow told Jun Xuanji and Zhu Jiuyun that the two of them had to be careful in their daily lives. They had to limit their activities in the divine capital and had to be accompanied by Shiryu whenever they went out. After leaving the divine capital, the two of them could only go to the heavenly desolate city, ethereal city, and Star Moon City. They couldn't go to other regions. Night Sorrow was worried about their safety because Mo Tianji's strength had a lot to do with them. If the two of them were captured and Mo Tianji used all kinds of methods to possess them, the consequences would be unimaginable. Knowing that Night Sorrow was doing this for their own good, Jun Xuanji and Zhu Jiuyun both nodded. While they were chatting, the other members of the Humanitarian League who were notified by Jun Xuanji arrived at the headquarters of the Humanitarian League. Night Sorrow, what's the difference between now and when you were exiled to the heavenly desolate region? What's the point of lying on the reincarnation island? Yu Zhu, who was sitting opposite Night Sorrow, asked. How can it be the same? When I was exiled, I was a rebel of the celestial realm. Now, I'm under the orders of the heavenly desolate region city lord and the Grand Elder, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Yu Zhu, you don't understand. From the perspective of the 100 Races Alliance, Night Sorrow isn't a sect elder. However, he's already an exiled warlord. His actual power and status are above ordinary sect elders. When Night Sorrow returns from the reincarnation island, it's reasonable that he'll be promoted, Pu Luo said. That's true. Human Emperor. He'll definitely be promoted in the 100 Races Alliance. I didn't think in that direction. Yu Zhu understood after hearing Pu Luo's words. The path of the Alliance leader may have been planned by the Heavenly Desolate Region City Lord, King Ye Wu, and the Grand Elder. Now, he's a warlord. When the heaven-ranking battle is over, his prestige will be unparalleled. It'll be reasonable for him to be promoted. If the other races of the celestial realm want to object, they'll have to shut up, Rui said. After so many years, he's only become a sect elder after working so hard. Night Sorrow is flying. Why do I feel like this is a trap? The Great Demon King looked at the people present and then at Night Sorrow. What's the key to being promoted in the Heavenly Desolate Region and the 100 Races Alliance? It's reputation, trust, and then strength. Great Demon King, you have the strength, but can you make the elders of the Council of Elders feel at ease? They've been worried that you'll cause trouble. I'm already surprised and shocked that you've made it this far, Pu Luo said. They're blind if they don't believe me, the Great Demon King scolded. Great Demon King, you're now the successor of the Grand Elder of the Elders. Aren't you satisfied? If others hear you, they'll be disappointed, Lin Piamio said. I'm just chatting and talking about their style. Am I someone who doesn't know what's good for me? I understand. I used to dislike the elders because of Wuji, Yu Kun, and the others. I respect the other elders, the Great Demon King said. Night Sorrow asked about the Humanitarian League. Haha. If you ask who's the most irresponsible person in the Humanitarian League, it's naturally you, the leader. You know too little about the Humanitarian League. You don't even know as much as any of the elders in the Humanitarian League. Let me tell you, the Humanitarian League is a first-rate force in the celestial realm. We have the ability to fight with any force to the end. Of course, we lack top-notch experts. If we have top-notch experts, we can easily flatten any race, including the divine beast race, Reese said. There were 7 elders in the Humanitarian League. However, Fentian's subordinates were from the fairies' capital. He didn't have much territory, while the other 6 had their own territories. Time. The emergence of an expert is accompanied by a lot of time, Night Sorrow nodded. Yishang, there are guests in Heavenly Desolate City. The Great Elder brought them to our mansion. Lin Piaomiao's original body had accompanied Yishang, while her clone was in Heavenly Desolate City. Who is it? Night Sorrow asked. At this moment, the Grand Elder brought a man and a woman to Night Sorrow's residence in the Heavenly Desolate region. Piaomiao, inform Night Sorrow that the Ice Phoenix race's Spirit Emperor and Heavenly Astral King are here, the Grand Elder said to Lin Piaomiao's clone. Chapter 2033. After receiving the news from Lin Piaomiao, Night Sorrow stood up. They are here for my Auntie Faye's matter. I will go back and see how to deal with it. Soon after, Night Sorrow returned to the Heaven Wasteland City. After exiting the teleportation array, he looked at the Heaven Wasteland Pagoda. Night Sorrow arrived in front of the Heaven Wasteland Pagoda. This time, the origin of the celestial realm did not appear. Night Sorrow told the guard that he wanted to see the city master. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, Tran Hung appeared. When Night Sorrow arrived in front of the Heaven Wasteland Tower, Tran Hung already knew. He did not know what Night Sorrow wanted to do, so he did not appear. After confirming that Night Sorrow wanted to see him, he came out of the cultivation space. X initial Q initial, Castellan, this is Night Sorrow's enlightenment. I hope it will be helpful to you. Night Sorrow took out his cultivation experience and handed it to Tran Hung. Tran Hung looked at Night Sorrow and said, back in Ethereal City, we agreed that you would just call me brother. Why are you changing your mind now? In the future, when we drink tea, you are the elder brother. In the Heavenly Desolate City, you are the Castellan. But now, Night Sorrow has something to deal with. Night Sorrow cupped his hands at Tran Hung. The Ice Phoenix Clan's Spirit Emperor and the Heavenly Astral King are reasonable people. Of course, we won't accept any grievances. Go. Tran Hung nodded at Night Sorrow. At this moment, the Heavenly Astral King, who was sitting in Night Sorrow's residence and chatting with the Grand Elder, paused. His innate talent was the power of the soul. He detected the conversation between Night Sorrow and Tran Hung. Grand Elder, it seems that you and the City Master value Night Sorrow very much. Of course. I won't hide it from the two of you. Yishang is the virtuous Merit Emperor, the human emperor of this cycle. We can't overlook this just because he's young. The Great Elder nodded. I originally hoped that the Grand Elder would talk to him. Now, there is no hope. We can only deal with it ourselves. The Heavenly Astral King took a sip of tea and smiled. Night Sorrow returned to the residence. When he reached the main hall, he cupped his hands at the Heavenly Astral King and the Spirit Emperor, who stood up. Night Sorrow greets the 2 seniors of the Ice Phoenix clan. He is indeed extraordinary. He looks talented and handsome. It is not appropriate to describe him. The Spirit Emperor, who was wearing a blue dress, nodded at Night Sorrow. I didn't know that the 2 seniors would come. Please take a seat. Night Sorrow went to the empty main seat and sat down. He was the host, so he naturally sat in the main seat. He wasn't reserved just because the other party had a powerful background. Night Sorrow, we will get straight to the point. We thank you for standing up for our precious daughter and not letting her suffer, the Heavenly Astral King said to Night Sorrow. The 2 seniors are too polite. I was once separated from my family. Other than Father Gu, who raised me, Aunt Faye is my first family. I will not let her suffer any grievances as long as I am alive. This is my promise and also an oath. Last time, when the Ice Phoenix clan's Elder Qin came to pick her up, she made a promise. I also believed her and agreed to let Aunt Faye return to the Ice Phoenix clan. But in reality, they actually forced my Aunt Faye to do something she didn't want to do. So I can't tolerate it. At this point, the smile on Night Sorrow's face disappeared because the actions of the Ice Phoenix clan's elder assembly had touched her bottom line. Night Sorrow, we can understand your feelings and we are also very grateful. We are your Aunt Faye's parents. When we didn't fulfill our responsibilities as parents, she had you as her backing. We are very gratified in our hearts. The Ice Phoenix clan's Spirit Emperor stood up and cupped her hands at Night Sorrow. Lord Spirit Emperor is too polite. I didn't let Aunt Faye go back not to make things difficult for anyone, but because I was worried and didn't believe the promises of those elders. But since the two seniors are here, I let her go. I am also a son and a father. I understand the hearts of parents. No matter how much I do my best, it is not as good as the love of parents for their children, Night Sorrow said. At this moment, the Spirit Emperor turned her head and wiped the corners of her eyes. Then, she looked at Night Sorrow. Thank you. Let's not talk about the Ice Phoenix clan. The two of us owe you a big favor. You are too polite. Then I will go and bring Aunt Faye over. Night Sorrow stood up. Let's go together. The Heavenly Astral King stood up and patted his emotional wife's shoulder at the same time. This matter has been resolved satisfactorily. This seat is also relieved. The Grand Elder said. Grand Elder has troubled you. The Spirit Emperor nodded at the Grand Elder. Night Sorrow took the Ice Phoenix clan's Spirit Emperor and the Heavenly Astral King to the ethereal Imperial City through the teleportation array. In the Night Moon Villa, they saw Wu Lingfei. Seeing the mother and daughter hugging each other, Night Sorrow also felt relieved. With the appearance of the Heavenly Astral King and the Spirit Emperor, Wu Lingfei would no longer be wronged. Night Sorrow, who originally wanted to invite the Heavenly Astral King and the Spirit Emperor to a banquet, gave up the idea. After letting Datura arrange the reception, he left. He wanted to give Wu Lingfei and her parents some space. Datura naturally understood what Night Sorrow meant. After arranging a guest room for Wu Lingfei's family, he did not disturb them. This Night Sorrow is really amazing. He has a cultivation close to the Emperor Tribulation at such a young age. The main thing is that his character and courage are very strong. The Spirit Emperor's evaluation of Night Sorrow was very high. That's right. No matter what the motive is, the Elders Guild has gone overboard this time. This matter needs to be dealt with. The Heavenly Astral King said. Okay, then don't go back. It's not easy for our family to be reunited. The Spirit Emperor said. I'm not going back. It's difficult to calm down in this chaotic world. You have abdicated, and it's appropriate for me to come back. The Heavenly Astral King nodded. The Ice Phoenix clan was a divine beast clan. The clan rules were more troublesome. Moreover, the Ice Phoenix clan's bloodline was all outstanding women. Therefore, the Ice Phoenix clan's emperor was a woman. The clan leader's husband was usually a protector. He was usually not in the clan. This was a restriction in the clan rules. After the current Ice Phoenix clan emperor abdicated, this restriction disappeared. Daughter, don't blame your parents. Because the Ice Phoenix clan is going to rise, some arrangements have been made. The other Divine Beast clans have also made the same arrangements. The Spirit Emperor said. Wu Lingfei nodded. She did not dislike her parents. She was just dissatisfied with the Elders Guild. As for the Elders Guild's problem, we will help you solve it. Your mother has been in seclusion and does not manage the clan's affairs. They really want to go to heaven. The Heavenly Astral King was a little angry when he thought of his daughter being forced to stay in the clan. Yisheng returned to the Heavenly Desolate City and continued to guide his children in cultivation. Now that the matter of Wu Lingfei had been resolved, he felt relieved. Father. Today, I went to the god-slaying team to see Uncle Long Jin and Uncle Tianyu. They said that many experts from the 100 Races Alliance came. They are all elites. Yi Qingyan said. Elites. Who can come to Tianhuang City is not an elite. But generation after generation, how many of them are left? Knight Sorrow drank a mouthful of water and said. The meeting of heroes is just a competition. In reality, when a true elite rises, there are piles of bones under their feet. Lin Piaomiao said. Although I don't want to say it, looking back now, my hands are also covered in blood. There are piles of bones under my feet. Knight Sorrow's gaze was a little distant. Chapter 2034. 13. I won't deny that many people have fallen under your spear over the years. Is there anyone who didn't deserve to die? Aoi looked at Knight Sorrow. Sixth senior sister, you think too much. Do you think that I will feel guilty and have inner demons? I have walked the path with a clear conscience. I've killed a lot of people, but almost all of them died on the path of death. Although some of them might not have done anything wrong, they were on the opposing side. They had no choice but to be killed on the battlefield. That was fate, said Yishan. Knight Sorrow calmed down and drank tea with his wife. Sometimes, he would go out of the city gate and walk on the Nirvana Ocean Bridge to feel the path he had walked. Knight Sorrow knew that one day, he would walk this path again and follow it to Heaven Wasteland. In the past, the city gate was often open because the Heaven Wasteland army had come here. It was the order of the Assembly of Elders to use Knight Sorrow's bloody path to awaken the blood in everyone's hearts. However, after Knight Sorrow came, no one went near him. Many people knew that Knight Sorrow was the main character of that bloody battle. To the cultivators of Heaven Wasteland City, a battle between an emperor and an emperor might not mean much. However, that battle didn't focus on cultivation, but on spirit and courage. It was a kind of courage and spirit to fight to the end. When Yishang was here, no one dared to approach him out of respect. When Knight Sorrow came, no one went near him. However, there were more people watching from afar because they realized that Knight Sorrow standing on the Nirvana Ocean Bridge was a spear that could pierce the heavens. That kind of intent was beneficial to everyone's cultivation. No matter what attribute or secret technique they cultivated, they would all have different feelings. Originally, he was just walking around casually. However, Knight Sorrow had a different feeling when he came here. He could always think of that battle. Knight Sorrow felt like he had returned to the past. He recalled the battle back then. In this state, he felt that his mental state was very good. He wanted to find this feeling. Knight Sorrow, your current situation is actually a path of cultivation. I can sense that everything around you will be affected by you, including the essence, energy, and soul of other cultivators. The 9 regions origin body communicated with Knight Sorrow. I feel it too. It feels very comfortable. It feels like the release of my soul. I don't know what's going on. Knight Sorrow closed his eyes and searched for the feeling. At this time, Tran Hung, who was standing in front of a window in the Heaven Wasteland Pagoda, was thinking. Others might not know, but he knew Knight Sorrow's state, which was very rare. Often, he would stand there for half a day and only leave at Knight Sorrow. Furthermore, he would come every day. Originally, there were still people who came to watch, but at some point, the gate of Nirvana City had been sealed. Only Knight Sorrow could go out. The others could only walk on the city wall at most. On this day, Knight Sorrow came back from the Nirvana Ocean Bridge and met Tran Hung. Tran Hung brought Knight Sorrow to the gate of Nirvana City. How do you feel coming here every day? Tran Hung asked Knight Sorrow. I don't know. I just feel very comfortable. Also, I feel that there are some changes in my body. My soul power is increasing rapidly, Night Sorrow said. This is a state where one's comprehension of the force of heaven and earth has reached perfection. This is a state that can only be entered when one cultivates the Emperor's tribulation. It is a state that one can only enter in their dreams. Before the Emperor's tribulation, saints and saint-kings cultivate the laws. Kings, sovereigns, and lords of heaven cultivate the will of heaven and earth. Of course, lords of heaven's will of heaven and earth has reached perfection. Sovereigns, emperors, and emperors cultivate the force of heaven and earth. Those who cultivate the Emperor's tribulation also cultivate the force of heaven and earth. However, after reaching perfection in the force of heaven and earth and entering the Emperor's tribulation, you will no longer have to comprehend the force of heaven and earth. Instead, you will have to unlock your own treasures and strengthen your soul, Tran Hung explained to Night Sorrow. My comprehension of the force of heaven and earth is still very far away from the Emperor's tribulation. How did I enter this state? Night Sorrow was stunned. There were many things that he didn't understand. At first, I was very puzzled by your state of cultivation because it shouldn't have existed. Later, I came here to understand and deduce the reason. Back then, when you were fighting here, the battle was too intense. You were too immersed in it, so your soul scattered into the void. Because of the Nirvana storm and other factors, it actually merged with the force of heaven and earth and became one. That's why you can enter this state in advance, Tran Hung explained. Is this a good thing or a bad thing? Yi Shang asked. He was worried that haste would make waste, and that they were now on a path they shouldn't have taken. It's a good thing. It's very good. It doesn't conflict with your current cultivation. It's not that the Emperor's tribulation can't enter this state, it's because the force of heaven and earth hasn't reached perfection, so you can't comprehend it. However, I suggest that you focus on comprehending the force of heaven and earth. After all, it's the most important path for you right now, Tran Hung said. Tran Hung left, and Night Sorrow looked at the Nirvana Ocean Bridge in a daze. He didn't expect this situation. After returning to the mansion and drinking tea with his family, Night Sorrow was a little absent-minded. He didn't expect to walk on another path, a path that he had stepped on in advance. While Night Sorrow was absent-minded, Wu Lingfei, Wang Ling, and the Heavenly Astral King arrived at Night Sorrow's mansion. Night Sorrow, why are you so absent-minded? Wu Lingfei greeted Night Sorrow, who was standing at the door of the hall. Although Yi Shang had welcomed them, that was only after they had entered the mansion. They had already noticed Yi Shang's absent-minded state outside the mansion. Auntie Fei, I was thinking about something just now and got distracted. Seniors, I'm sorry for the neglect. Night Sorrow cupped his hands at Huang Ling and the Heavenly Astral King. At this moment, the Heavenly Astral King looked at Night Sorrow with confusion in his eyes, but he still nodded in return. Lin Piaomiao, who was standing beside Night Sorrow, invited them into the main hall of the mansion. She made tea and received the guests. Night Sorrow, I've already informed Huang Yu and the others. They went against the promise that the Ice Phoenix clan made to you. They must apologize. Keeping promises isn't just a virtue of the human race. All cultivators should take it seriously, Huang Ling said. As long as Auntie Fei is doing well, this isn't important, Night Sorrow said after being stunned for a moment. It's very important. You have to keep your word. I don't want the Ice Phoenix clan to become unbearable in your eyes. Also, many of our Ice Phoenix clan's clansmen are participating in this heroes meeting. Don't let them lose too badly, Huang Yu said with a smile. I will. Night Sorrow nodded. Night Sorrow, based on your temper in the past, you wouldn't have agreed because you respect your opponents and your past efforts. Wu Lingfei's eyes were a little surprised. Auntie Fei, I was young back then and was stubborn. Moreover, I'm just making the battle less embarrassing, not changing the outcome, Night Sorrow said. Chapter 2035. Night Sorrow didn't know how to respond because he was indeed very young in the eyes of Heavenly Astral King and Huang Ling, hee. I'm just kidding. Night Sorrow, Elder Lin, your Twilight Tea House in Ethereal Imperial City is really good. We went to the Snow Pavilion twice and felt that it was good. The only downside is that we have to line up, Heavenly Astral King said. The problem of lining up can be solved. Night Sorrow flipped through his storage ring and took out a VIP card for Heavenly Astral King. If I really need this, I won't hold back. Heavenly Astral King smiled and accepted it. Twilight Tea House really needs to be expanded. We have given out many VIP cards. If many customers with VIP cards appear on the same day, the normal customers will be very dissatisfied. Misty, if you have time, talk to my sworn brother, Night Sorrow said to Lin Misty Meow. I already have some ideas. Lin Misty Meow nodded to Night Sorrow. During the conversation, Heavenly Astral King and Huang Ling asked about the situation of Reincarnation Island and talked a lot with Night Sorrow. In addition, the way they addressed each other changed. Night Sorrow called Heavenly Astral King Wei Elder Xing and Huang Ling Elder Ling. A few days passed in silence. During these few days, Night Sorrow received many guests because he was friends with many races. Huang Yu brought a few elders of the Ice Phoenix race to the Heavenly Desolate City. She made a special trip to Yishang's residence to apologize. The matter was resolved satisfactorily. Yishang did not care about these things. Night Sorrow's original body would go to the Nirvana Ocean Bridge every afternoon and stay for a while his avatar received guests. His residence had many permanent guests. Besides the Humanitarian League, Heavenly Astral King and his wife, Blood Scale Races Qi Rui and Lin Xiao also stayed. Long Yixing also stayed. The Nine-Tailed Fox Clan, the Azure Rock Clan, and the Black Dragons had all come to visit Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow was glad that the relationship between the Divine Beast clans was quite good, and there was no conflict. Night Sorrow's original body had just returned from the Nirvana Ocean Bridge when Zhuodong came to find him. The Samsara Island had a fight with the Third United because of the encampment. When Night Sorrow and the others arrived, the battle was already over. There were also many onlookers, including the law protectors of the Heavenly Desolate City. Nan Yong, Shi Cheng, and Song Jin Gang, as well as the people they brought with them, were surrounded by the law protectors. The other side was in an even more miserable state. Their noses were bruised and their faces swollen. Although they did not die, their injuries were very serious. What's the situation? Night Sorrow asked. I told him that we were going to switch camps. Talking nicely didn't work. He was being unreasonable and ended up fighting with us, Nan Yong said. This is the Heavenly Desolate City. During the meeting of heroes, take away all those who cause trouble. The leader of the law protectors said. Night Sorrow did not say anything at first, but he was not willing to do so because the law protectors only arrested the people of the Samsara Island. They did not touch those who had a conflict with the Samsara Island. Stop. Are you the leader of the law protectors? Night Sorrow asked the leader of the law protectors. Yes, I'm Zhuge Ho. What do you want? The leader of the law protectors in silver armor looked at him and asked in an unfriendly tone. If there's a problem, we'll deal with it. If there's a mistake, we'll punish them. I won't say anything under such circumstances. But you didn't ask for the reason and directly arrested the people of the Samsara Island. Didn't you do anything? Night Sorrow asked. Who are you to ask what I do? If you don't know what to say, what do you want to say? Only if you have the right to do so. Zhuge Ho looked coldly at Night Sorrow and said sharply. I can't just do my job properly. If that's the case, then I won't do my job properly. This camp belongs to the Samsara Island. If anyone wants to come here to arrest people, they'll have to ask if I, Knight Sorrow, agree. Attack. Kick out the Heaven Wasteland Army and law protectors who don't belong to the Samsara Island. I don't want to see them in the time it takes to brew a cup of tea. Knight Sorrow reached out and grabbed a large wooden chair at the side of the martial arts field and sat down. Hearing Yi Shang's words, Nan Yong, Shi Qing, and Song Jingang led their subordinates to attack. They didn't hesitate at all and beat up the injured soldiers of the third commander again. Hu Du was thrown out of the encampment, and the commander of the third commander, Dong Zhenyue, was also beaten to a pulp. The law protectors brought by Zhuge He were also beaten up by the Samsara Island and left the camp in a state of complete defeat. Commander, we've completed the mission. After the battle, Nan Yong and the other two reported to Knight Sorrow. Complacent. What's there to be proud of when you have the advantage in numbers? Call the first commander over and we'll fight. No matter how many people they send, we'll fight them. Today, this is our battlefield. If we lose, it's because I, Knight Sorrow, am not capable. It's because you're not capable. Knight Sorrow pulled out his hand and stabbed the Samsara halberd into the ground beside his feet. How dare you attack the law protectors? You're all traitors. Just you wait. Zhuge He shouted. He was very angry. Traitors. Where were you when the Samsara Island was fighting? How dare you call us traitors? You're courting death. Knight Sorrow stood up and used the void steps. Then, he slapped out with the desolate Nirvana hand. Zhuge He, who was originally cursing, did not expect Knight Sorrow to suddenly attack. He was unprepared and his strength was much weaker than Knight Sorrow's. He was directly slapped to the ground by Knight Sorrow's palm. Bang! With a flick of his wrist, a large energy hand appeared. Knight Sorrow grabbed Zhuge He and brought him in front of him. It's fine if you insult me, but you can't insult the soldiers who are fighting for the celestial realm. You're not the one who said the word traitor. Commander, don't kill him. Nan Yong came to Knight Sorrow and said. He could see that Knight Sorrow wanted to kill him. He did not want things to get out of hand. If you dare to touch me, the law protectors will not let you off. Zhuge He grabbed Knight Sorrow's arm with both hands and said. Are you trying to scare me? Then I, Knight Sorrow, will wait. Scram! Knight Sorrow swung his arm and threw Zhuge He out of the encampment. The third commander did not leave. The law protectors did not retreat either. They surrounded the encampment. Ha! This is a bit serious. Brothers, are you afraid? Knight Sorrow asked the Heaven Wasteland Army, the first commander, and the God-slaying team. No. The Heaven Wasteland Army in the encampment roared. Maybe we're in the wrong. It doesn't matter if you punish us, but you must give us justice. Don't worry, if you want to touch you, you'll have to take me down first, Knight Sorrow said. More and more people gathered. It was the law protectors of the Heaven Wasteland City. Get into formation. Prepare for battle. Long Jin roared when he saw the law protectors appear. Knight Sorrow, what are you doing? Are you rebelling? A green-robed elder appeared with Zhuge He behind him. Chapter 2036. Zhuge Qian, you're very capable. Samsara Island is under this king's protection. If you touch them, you're going against me. You fought with this king's younger brother once an era ago. This time, this king will see how powerful you are. By the way, you shameless bastard. Last time, you took this king's blood essence at the risk of being seriously injured. Let's settle the score. The Golden Dragon King appeared, his face full of hostility. Uncle, is what you just said true? Long Jin held his wave saber in his hand. Yes, you have to respect the other people of the 100 Races Alliance. But you don't have to respect this bullshit Great Guardian. He's just a liar. He fought with your father once and was almost killed by him. In the end, he took your father's blood essence at the risk of being seriously injured and ran away. Then, he shamelessly said that both sides were injured, the Golden Dragon King said. This is the matter of the Guardian team of Heaven Wasteland City. It's none of your business. Zhuge Qian's face was very ugly. The Golden Dragon King's words were a slap in the face, a slap in the face. The matter of the Guardian team. Then try it. The Golden Dragon King's face was full of murderous intent. Zhuge Qian, you can't handle today's matter. If you want to interfere with the Heaven Wasteland army of Samsara Island, go to the Council of Elders first, Pu Luo said. Zhuge Qian glanced at Pu Luo, then looked at the Golden Dragon King again, his eyes full of anger. Golden Dragon King, must you interfere with the matter of the Guardian team? This is going against the Council of Elders of the 100 Races Alliance. Alright, I'll handle this matter. The Guardian team is dismissed. The Grand Elder appeared. I don't care who you are or what your status is. If you want to attack us in the future, ask the Grand Elder and the 7 clan elders to come. You are not qualified. Knight Sorrow nodded at the Grand Elder and then looked at Zhuge Qian. Zhuge Qian snorted coldly and left with the Guardian team. He had to carry out the Grand Elder's orders. Besides, the situation was out of his control. It could even be said that the appearance of the Grand Elder had given him a way out. Remember, I will definitely bleed you. Long Jin waved his wave blade and roared at Zhuge Qian. After hearing the Golden Dragon King's words, he was very angry because Zhuge Qian had once used his father's reputation to fish for fame. Turning around to look at Long Jin, Zhuge Qian smiled, his eyes full of disdain. Not bad. Remember, we of the Reincarnation Island are not afraid of any war. We will fight to the end no matter who fights with us. Knight Sorrow waved his hand and dismissed the Heaven Wasteland army of the Reincarnation Island. Knight Sorrow, what's going on? The Grand Elder looked at Knight Sorrow and asked. Originally, it was because of the encampment. I asked the commanders of the Heaven Wasteland army of the Reincarnation Island to negotiate with the Heaven Wasteland army near the first army to change encampments. Because the negotiation was not very successful, a conflict broke out. Knight Sorrow said to the Grand Elder. It's normal to fight for encampments. How did it involve the Guardian team? The Grand Elder did not understand. It was common for the Heaven Wasteland army to fight for encampments in the Heaven Wasteland city. I'm not very clear about this. I was angry because the Guardian team wanted to capture people, only those of the Reincarnation Island. After I asked, they weren't polite at all. Then, they started fighting, Yishan said. Grand Elder, Nan Yong has something to say. Nan Yong stood up. The Grand Elder nodded and motioned for Nan Yong to speak. Nan Yong said that Dong Jinyue and Zhuge Ho were relatives of Zhuge Qian. Okay, I'll take care of this matter. Now is the time of the meeting of heroes, try to avoid conflicts. The Grand Elder said. The matter calmed down. The Heaven Wasteland army under the 3 commands of Knight Sorrow had new encampments, which were all around the encampment of the first army. Knight Sorrow repeatedly reminded that if anyone was looking for trouble, they should call back, but they should inform him immediately. Knight Sorrow was very angry that the Guardian team had made things difficult for him. However, not long after, someone came to Knight Sorrow's residence. It was the disciplined sect elder Lu Qi and the law enforcement sect elder Qin Chenjie. They came because of the Guardian team. The two did not hide anything and told Knight Sorrow some things. The Guardian team and the law enforcement team had different management systems in the Heaven Wasteland city. The Guardian team came from the Fiend God Castle, and Zhuge Qian was the great guardian of the Fiend God Castle. Knight Sorrow, we have already informed them about this matter. The Guardian team will not have any conflicts with the Reincarnation Island in the future. Qin Qinjie said. In this matter, I am disgusted because as the higher-ups of the Guardian team, their inner desires are too strong. Knight Sorrow sighed and said. The Golden Dragon King shook his head. The conflicts between forces are resolved. The conflicts between individuals cannot be resolved. Then don't resolve it. If he dares to look for trouble, just kill him. Long Yixing said. He remembered the Golden Dragon King's words. If Knight Sorrow didn't like someone, he would like that person. If Knight Sorrow wanted to mess with someone, he would kill that person. Let's not talk about this for now. They looked down on the Reincarnation Island and Knight Sorrow. I also look down on them. If they want to fight, then I will fight with them to the end. Knight Sorrow really didn't care about this matter. Dong Zhenyue and Zhuge He were not important in his eyes. Even if Zhuge Qian was strong, he was not afraid of him. After seeing Lu Qi and Qin Qinjie off, Knight Sorrow went to the encampment of the First Army to see Long Jin. He knew that Long Jin was not at ease because the shameless Zhuge Qian once had a relationship with his father. Is there anyone in the 100 Races Alliance who dares to mess with us? Sua Dong scolded. Just now, Elder Qin said that Zhuge Qian came back after learning about the meeting of heroes. He has been in seclusion in the Zhuge family's territory. He doesn't know about what happened in the Reincarnation Island. Knight Sorrow said. This was what Qin Qinjie told him. Captain, I haven't seen my father since I got my memory back. But if anyone dares to disrespect my father, then I will not let it go. Long Jin said. I understand. Let's talk about this later. Now is the meeting of heroes. It's not appropriate for us to make trouble. Also, I can't see through this guy's strength. If we find someone to deal with him, it'll be pointless. Later, us brothers will deal with him, said Yi Shan. He had come for this matter and wanted to greet Long Jin. Original O, Original O, Original O, Original O, Original O. I always thought that no one would dare to yell at us. I didn't expect that there really is someone, Tianyu said. After telling everyone not to let this matter affect their mood and to prepare for the meeting of heroes with all their strength, Knight Sorrow returned to his mansion. Knight Sorrow, you are very brave. Zhuge Qian is a cultivator of the tribulation of the three emperors. Are you going to fight him head-on? Seeing Knight Sorrow come back, Heavenly Astral King said. Haha, now that things have come to this, I have to fight. Knight Sorrow said with a smile. When we were outside the encampment of the Heaven Wasteland Army, I saw that you really wanted to fight. You didn't want to deal with him at all. Huang Ling said. You don't understand. Knight Sorrow has fought with Mo Yutian. Why would he be afraid of Zhuge Qian? Golden Dragon King said. Chapter 2037. Lord Golden Dragon King, you must be joking. You only touched him once, but you were almost killed, Knight Sorrow said with a smile. Aren't you different from before? You've improved a lot. You still can't defeat Yutian Mo, but how can Zhuge Qian compare to him? His cultivation is good, but he's still far from that level, the Golden Dragon King said. Let's not talk about this anymore. Do you want to drink? Knight Sorrow looked at the several leaders of the Divine Beast clans present. He was trying to defuse this matter. The matter had calmed down, but Knight Sorrow knew that it was only temporary. When Zhuge Qian left, the killing intent in his eyes was very strong. It was obvious that it wasn't easy to resolve. With the arrival of the various clans of the 100 Races Alliance, it was time for the meeting of heroes to be held. The venue was the square in front of the Heaven Wasteland Tower. Night Sorrow also stopped cultivating on the Nirvana Ocean Bridge. During this period of cultivation, his soul power had increased significantly. The martial arts arena of the Heaven Wasteland City was surrounded by seats for the various clans and forces. What made the Heaven Wasteland army envious was that the Reincarnation Island had a seat, which the other armies couldn't compare to. In addition, the major forces under the Humanitarian League didn't have their own seats and gathered together. Night Sorrow didn't know where to sit. He was the leader of the Humanitarian League, but he was also the commander of the Reincarnation Island. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow pushed the chair in the middle of the Humanitarian League to Puluo, while he moved the big chair in front of the Reincarnation Island to the middle of the Humanitarian League and the Reincarnation Island. At this moment, the Golden Dragon King arrived at the Reincarnation Island area and took out a big golden chair from his storage ring. Night Sorrow, this king will sit here. Okay. Night Sorrow smiled and nodded. Many people turned to look because the Golden Dragon King was showing his attitude. The Lord of the Heaven Wasteland City, Tran Hung, and the Grand Elder appeared and took the main seats. Golden Dragon King, why are you sitting there? Isn't there a seat for you? The Grand Elder greeted the Golden Dragon King when he reached the main seat. This was because the leaders of the various Holy Beast clans all had seats in the judges' seats. Ha! There's no need. This king is more comfortable with these little guys. The Golden Dragon shook his head with a smile, /1 cool, craftsman, genuine web edition #the mayor didn't sit down. Instead, he looked around and said, in the past, only the human race had the mythical ranking. I wrote the mythical ranking to encourage the future generations to work hard. This time, I listened to the elders of the Council of Elders and decided to open the King ranking and the Emperor Realm Heaven, Earth, and Mortal rankings. The goal of getting on the mythical ranking is not to be competitive, but to prove that your efforts were not in vain. After explaining the purpose of the heroes meeting and the ranking, the mayor sat down. Then, the Grand Elder stood up and explained the rules. They weren't allowed to use clones, and they weren't allowed to kill the opponent after admitting defeat. The host of the heroes meeting was Emperor Tang. The mayor, the Grand Elder, and the leaders of the various Holy Beast clans were the judges. First, it was the competition for the king ranking. Emperor Tang asked the cultivators who signed up for the king ranking to enter the arena. There are too many cultivators who signed up. If they all enter the arena, it will take a long time. Therefore, we have to eliminate some of them first. Emperor Tang said. 400 to 500 people entered the arena. They were all rank 8 cultivators and usually didn't have the chance to walk around in the Heaven Wasteland City. This time, the Heaven Wasteland City notified the 100 races, so the higher-ups of the 100 races in the Heaven Wasteland City brought their rising stars. Hold on. When the number of people is reduced to a certain level, the array will stop. Emperor Tang said and threw some Holy Spirit stones around the arena. Array! The energy around the arena surged and rolled. Then, it pressed down on the cultivators who were participating in the king ranking. Night Sorrow turned his head and looked at Yang Lei and the god-slaying team. According to the plan, only Yi Lingxi would be participating in the king ranking competition. However, Yi Xiaolei also appeared in the arena. Yang Lei shook her head at Night Sorrow. She didn't know that Yi Xiaolei would secretly sign up and directly enter the arena. Night Sorrow had made the decision to only let Yi Lingxi participate in the king ranking competition. Yi Qingyan and Yi Xiaolei were very outstanding, but they weren't at the level where they could defeat the other cultivators. Night Sorrow, it's fine to go up and play. Even if you fail, it's still a learning experience. This king will guarantee her safety, the Golden Dragon King said to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow nodded. So be it. I'm worried about her, but they have their own paths to walk. The energy in the arena surged and pressed down. Some of the king ranking cultivators couldn't withstand the pressure and were forced out of the arena. Under this kind of test, the energy was violent. If you could withstand it, you could. If you couldn't fake it. More and more participants were swept out of the arena by the energy, and the number of people in the arena decreased. Yilingxi was very relaxed. The energy in her body surged and helped Yi Xiaolei, who was standing not far from her, resist some of the pressure. F***ck, that's cheating. Reese muttered. Shut up. What are you talking about? Weapons and defensive equipment are soft power. Aren't interpersonal relationships a type of soft power? Besides, it's not like she can't withstand it. It's just that Lingxi cares about her sister. Yuzhu glared at Reese. She liked Yi Xiaolei, and Reese's words were a rejection of Yi Xiaolei. Reese was stunned by Yuzhu's words. He was just saying it casually. At this moment, a conflict broke out in the arena. Some participants couldn't take it anymore and started attacking. They wanted to force some of the other participants out to fight for the right to enter the competition. The judges didn't stop them. Emperor Tang didn't say anything either. It was within the rules. Third sister, defend. Yilingxi shouted at Yi Xiaolei. A long spear appeared in her hand. She used the spear to fight back against the other cultivators who were attacking the siblings. Yi Xiaolei had the spatial and lightning attributes. The spatial attribute was the Yi clan's innate talent. Her achievements in cultivation were more outstanding. She was good at stacking space and defense. She would defend first and then use the lightning attribute's area of effect combat skills to protect Yilingxi from behind and interfere with the other cultivators' attacks on the siblings. One focused on offense while the other focused on defense. In addition, Yilingxi and Yi Xiaolei both had the spatial rend and soul destruction slash. Normal sovereigns and heaven monarchs wouldn't have an advantage in front of them. Although they were in an undefeatable position, Yilingxi started to attack viciously. She used the void steps and constantly injured the cultivators who were near them. The spatial revolving dragon kill and time oscillation wave were all ultimate skills that Knight Sorrow had practiced for many years. Even if Yilingxi's cultivation was relatively low, not everyone could block them. When the cultivators who were attacking Yilingxi and Yi Xiaolei were forced to leave the arena with serious injuries, the direction of the battle changed. The cultivators who were attacking the two retreated and changed their target to others. No one was willing to fight a tough bone. Chapter 2038. Knight Sorrow, not bad. Your children aren't just for show. Their combat ability is very good, the Golden Dragon King said. The people from the Humanitarian League also clapped their hands. They had all watched Knight Sorrow and the other children grow up, so they were very happy to see Yilingxi and Yi Xiaolei standing firmly in the arena. Knight Sorrow also nodded with satisfaction. He was very satisfied with his children's ability to fight together. With the large array constantly releasing pressure and the opponents attacking, the contestants were eliminated very quickly. Contestants were constantly injured, and contestants were constantly forced out of the arena by the energy of the array. Yilingxi was not affected much. As long as someone approached the siblings, they would be directly sent out. He first used a soul attack, then used a violent spear technique. No cultivator could withstand it. In addition, those who attacked Yilingxi and her brother were not very strong, and the contestants who were not well informed. The contestants with real hope and foundation had been warned by their elders who were not to be trifled with. Yilingxi was on the list. When there were only about 200 contestants left in the arena, Emperor Tang stopped the large array on the arena. At the same time, he announced the end of the first round of selection. The contestants who passed the selection put their identity cards in a box beside Emperor Tang. Yilingxi and Yi Xiaolei returned to the Samsara Island area. *8's original 2 edition Z starter K equals Father, I'm sorry. I also want to take on some responsibility. Yi Xiaolei bowed to Night Sorrow. It's nothing. I don't want you to participate because I feel that girls shouldn't take on too much. If you want to participate, I won't object. Night Sorrow reached out to help his daughter up. Thank you, father. Yi Xiaolei nodded. She felt a lot more at ease because she was afraid that Night Sorrow would be angry. Don't force yourself. It's just a trial. Just do your best. Go get some rest. Night Sorrow nodded at Yi Xiaolei. After letting Yi Xiaolei sit down, Night Sorrow turned his head to look at Pu Luo. At this moment, Pu Luo and Zhuge Qian were looking at each other. Pu Luo stretched out his arm and gave Zhuge Qian a thumbs up. Then, he mouthed, "You're finished. The human Dao gold brick hasn't opened for business for a long time. I want to open it later." "Alliance Master, don't stop me," Pu Luo said after giving Zhuge Qian a look of disdain. "We won't stop them. However, we have to wait until the end of the meeting of heroes. As a part of the Tianhuang city, the reputation of the Tianhuang city is also our reputation," Night Sorrow said. "Then let him rest for a few days." Pu Luo did not refute Night Sorrow's suggestion. "Pu Luo, you're the law enforcement elder of the Council of Elders. Even this king can't comment on your character." The Golden Dragon King lamented. "I didn't want to be the law enforcement elder. They chose me. Besides, do I have to swallow my pride just because I'm the law enforcement elder? It doesn't make sense. When I meet someone who's looking for trouble, I naturally have to fight back." Pu Luo said. "You're also an anomaly to be able to take up the position in the Council of Elders. Perhaps it's because of your true nature," the Golden Dragon King said. At this moment, Emperor Tang announced the next competition for the king's list. The rules were to draw lots to fight. The loser would be eliminated and the winner would advance. The remaining 30 people would be the 30 people on the king's list. After the remaining 30 people, it would be the ranking battle. The ranking battle was a challenge mode. Everyone had 3 chances to challenge. If they failed 3 times, they would lose the right to challenge. Night Sorrow felt that this mode was very reasonable. The strong would not fail, so they would naturally be ranked high. The weak would have 3 chances. After 3 failures, their position would be almost guaranteed. There was no time for the contestants to rest. They would directly draw lots to fight. You would exhaust yourself, and so would your opponent. This was also relatively fair. As for drawing a strong opponent directly, it could only be due to bad luck. Luck was also a kind of strength. Night Sorrow kept watching. At the same time, he analyzed the strength of his children among this group of contestants. After more than 100 battles in this round, Yi Lingxi and Yi Xiaolei had both advanced. Night Sorrow also had a measure of strength in his heart. Night Sorrow was not worried about Yi Lingxi. He realized that in terms of strength, Yi Lingxi was definitely one of the top few contestants. This was not even considered Yi Lingxi's trump card. As for Yi Xiaolei, Night Sorrow felt that it would depend on luck. Yi Xiaolei had just entered the Heaven Monarch realm not long ago. Her soul spirit power and talent were not considered outstanding. Her actual combat strength was quite inferior to Yi Lingxi. The battles continued one after another. After the second round, there were still 60 contestants left. This was the plan. During the selection, there was a number for 3 rounds. Yi Xiaolei's luck was not bad. The opponent she encountered was very weak. As for Yi Lingxi, she defeated a woman from the Ice Phoenix race. This kid doesn't know how to have tender feelings for the fairer sex. Huang Ling, who was at the referee's seat, muttered. "Ha!" After he won, he expressed his apology. "He is very gentlemanly," Heavenly Astral King said. "That's right. Modesty in the arena is an insult to the opponent and oneself. This kid did nothing wrong. Patriarch Green Rock also spoke. I didn't say that he was wrong. Huang Ling glanced at Patriarch Green Rock. In the third round, Yi Xiaolei drew lots to go on stage. Night Sorrow smiled because Yi Xiaolei had hopes of entering the top 30. Her opponent was a little weak. After winning the previous round, she was already injured. Even if her opponent was not in a good state, Yi Xiaolei fought very hard in this round. She had to exchange injuries to defeat her opponent. After Yi Xiaolei returned, Night Sorrow thought for a moment and said, Xiaolei, listen to your father. Give up the next challenge. You have done well enough. Xiaolei understands. Thank you, father. Yi Xiaolei nodded. She had achieved her goal. She just wanted to add the word Ming to the king's roll. Yi Lingxi defeated a member of the Azure Dragons and entered the top 30. The elders at the judges' seats nodded as they watched their battle. Both of them were very strong in actual combat. Yi Lingxi had the upper hand by using void steps. After the third round of battles, the top 30 on the king's roll were out. Next was the challenge. The few judges sitting at the judges' seats discussed for a while and made a simple ranking of the remaining 30 according to the strength they had displayed. Yi Lingxi was ranked third. The first was a member of the White Tiger race who had not appeared for many years. The second was a member of the Black Scale race. These two were ranked first and second because of their tyrannical talent. Yi Xiaolei's strength was weak. In addition, she was already injured. She was ranked at the bottom of the 30. Night Sorrow, your youngest son is not bad. However, the fight for the top 3 will be very intense. What do you think? The Golden Dragon King said. There is pressure, but I believe in him. Night Sorrow smiled. Looks like he still has some foundation. This is going to be interesting. Looks like your Yi clan will be the biggest winner in this meeting of heroes. The Golden Dragon King smiled. He knew some things. Chapter 2039. The Golden Dragon King knew that Night Sorrow was strengthening the god-slaying team at Reincarnation Island and strengthening his children's cultivation. He also knew that this time, not only did the Yi clan have people participating in the king's list, there were also people participating in the emperor's list. And most importantly, Night Sorrow was also participating in the heavens list. The Golden Dragon King knew that it was almost impossible for anyone to snatch the heavens list first rank from Night Sorrow's hands. Someone made a nameplate, and Emperor Tang hung the names of the participants according to the rankings determined by the judges. If someone succeeded in the challenge, then the nameplate would be moved and the new ranking would be changed. There were also restrictions for the challenges. Each challenge could not exceed 5 ranks. If they won, they could continue, but if they lost, then they would lose a chance. From the back, the challenges began, and the battles were carried out one after another. #/latest equals chapter Q on in. After entering the top 10, the battles became more intense. Because there was time to rest, no one was afraid of exhaustion. After the first round of challenges, the second round of challenges would be carried out from the bottom of the ranking. Also, it was related to the final ranking, so the battles did not yield an inch. However, no one challenged the top 3, because the strength of the top 3 was recognized by everyone. The fourth place was from the Ice Phoenix clan. When it was her turn, she gave up the challenge because she did not have the confidence. Also, she wanted to see the fight for the top 3. When it was the third place, Emperor Tang looked at Yi Lingxi. Before he could ask, Yi Lingxi stood up and directly went to the martial arts arena, waving her silver spear. Hu Liang, let's fight. Night Sorrow looked at the elite of the White Tiger clan. You don't want to challenge the second place, but you want to fight with me? Hee hee. Then let's try. The White Tiger clan's Hu Yang, who was wearing a silver battle armor, also came down the stage. Everyone's emotions were raised, because this might be the most intense battle of the King's List in this heroes' assembly. It's not that I don't want to fight, I like it when others challenge me. Yilingxi glanced at the Black Scale clan's Qi Gang and said. Emperor Tang announced the start of the battle, and Yilingxi and Hu Yang began to fight. Hu Liang's attack was extremely tyrannical. The saber in his hand waved, and what he used was the White Tiger race's consummate skill, Constellation Battle Method. After Yilingxi used Soul Extinguishing Slash to attack Hu Yang, she continuously used Spatial Fissures to block Hu Liang's attacks. At the same time, she used Spacetime Spear Art battle skills to bombard Hu Yang. After Hu Yang was hit by Yilingxi's soul attack, a white halo appeared above his head, blocking the Soul Extinguishing Slash's crescent blade. Hu Yang then began to counterattack, and the two began to fight in the air. Because Yilingxi had the support of Spatial Rend and Soul Extinguishing Slash, as well as Void Steps, all of Hu Liang's attacks missed. However, Yilingxi's spear attacks were also blocked by Hu Yang. They were evenly matched. It was a scene of evenly matched strength. After fighting for the time it took to brew a cup of tea, Hu Yang retreated and a White Tiger Phantom appeared behind him. Try my Western White Tiger kill. Following Hu Liang's roar, the White Tiger Phantom transformed into an energy wave that shot towards Yilingxi. This was the White Tiger clan's ultimate move, Western White Tiger kill. Suddenly, Yilingxi's figure flashed and became illusory. Then, she disappeared. After Hu Liang's White Tiger kill's energy wave blasted forward, Yilingxi's figure reappeared. However, she was very close to Hu Yang. The silver spear in her hand pierced through space and arrived before Hu Liang's chest. Hu Yang, who had just executed his ultimate move, paled and he brandished his war blade to block the attack. However, Yilingxi had used Temporal Oscillation Wave. Following the shock waves, the war blade in Hu Liang's hand was knocked away and Yilingxi's spear pierced a hole into his chest. After falling into a disadvantageous position, Hu Yang quickly retreated and executed Western White Tiger kill once more. However, it was ineffective against Yilingxi, who had cultivated the spacetime realm. After fighting for a while and executing his ultimate move twice, Hu Yang, who could not do anything to Yilingxi, admitted defeat. He had expended too much energy and there was no point in continuing the fight. Rest for a bit. Hi, Hu Yang, we'll fight you in the next round, Hu Yang said to Night Sorrow after admitting defeat. Yilingxi's face remained calm and she simply nodded. Hu Yang and Yilingxi's rankings changed and Yilingxi moved to first place. Emperor Tang asked if he wanted to challenge Hu Yang, the new third-ranked participant. Hu Yang gave up. He had just finished a battle and had expended too much energy. He did not have the confidence to fight Qi Gang and Yilingxi again. He also could not challenge lower-ranked participants. When it came to the second-ranked participant, Qi Gang pondered for a moment before giving up. He knew very well that before he could break Yilingxi's movement technique, he would not be able to defeat Yilingxi. Next, the second round of challenges began. Everyone had 3 chances to challenge, which meant that there were 3 rounds of challenges. If you gave up when it was your turn, you would have one less chance. The 30th participant was Yi Xiaolei. If she did not challenge, no one would challenge her. This time, it was an all-out challenge. After this round, there was only 1 round left. When it came to the 4th participant, the Ice Phoenix race's Huang Yan gave up again. Next was Hu Yang, who was defeated by Yilingxi in the previous round. Hu Yang gave up on challenging Qi Gang and directly challenged Yilingxi. However, he still lost in the end. Hu Yang and Yilingxi were on the same level. Yilingxi's spatial world was overbearing, which made Hu Yang helpless. His innate skill, Western White Tiger kill, could not do anything to Night Sorrow's skill. Hu Liang lost and it was Qi Gang's turn. After thinking for a while, Qi Gang gave up on challenging Night Sorrow. He planned to use his strength in the last round. As long as he defeated Night Sorrow, he would be first on the king list. When it was Yilingxi's turn, Yilingxi stood up and looked at Qi Gang. Sooner or later, you will have to fight. There is only one round left. It might be too late for you to use your strength. In order to not give you any regrets, I will challenge you. Very magnanimous. Yilingxi's words made Hu Liang and Qi Rui very puzzled. Because Yilingxi was taking the initiative to challenge him. The result of the battle was Qi Gang's loss. It was because he could not break Night Sorrow's void steps in spatial world. Then, the third round began. Yilingxi, who was sitting at the top, closed her eyes and pondered. She knew that this was the last round. The result would be out after the battle. When it came to the fourth participant, the Ice Phoenix Race's Huang Yan challenged Hu Liang. This battle was also very intense. The Ice Phoenix Race's woman had the ability to freeze space. Hu Liang's Western White Tiger kill was greatly restrained, so Hu Liang lost. The third participant, Huang Yan, challenged Qi Gang again. Qi Gang's speed was not as fast as this Ice Phoenix Race's woman. King List's second place was snatched by Huang Yan. She then gave up the challenge. She was able to win against Hu Liang and Qi Gang because they were not in good condition. Also, she did not have any battle strength left. Huang Yan, who was originally in fourth place, was now in second place. It was Hu Liang's turn to challenge. Hu Liang challenged Huang Yan. However, he still lost. Then, it was the third participant, Qi Gang. Qi Gang gave up because he knew that he was not a match for Yilingxi and Huang Yan. Chapter 2040. Since Huang Yan, Hu Liang, and Qi Gang had given up on the challenge, there was no reason for Yilingxi to continue the challenge. After asking Yilingxi, Emperor Tang reported to the judges that the challenges for the king's list were over. Look at the F7. Chapter Section of the King's List. KS. Tran Hung stood up and took out a silver scroll. She tossed it into the air and waved her right hand, writing down names one after another. They were the names of the 30 people on the king's list. After announcing the results to the 30 people on the king's list, Tran Hung handed the list to the Grand Elder. In the future, whoever succeeds in the challenge must report to the Council of Elders. The Council of Elders will arrange the changes to the list. After the Grand Elder kept the list, he asked Emperor Tang to arrange the challenges for the king's list. Yi Xiaoluo was the only one from the Yi clan who participated in the king's list. Yi Yujun had just entered the Great Emperor realm and was still far from the other great emperors. He was unable to participate in this challenge. Xiaoluo, be careful. Don't get hurt, Yi Qingyan said worriedly. She had seen how fierce the battles for the king's list were. Yilingxi was so strong in the heavenly monarch realm. It was not easy for her to get the first place. Big sister, don't worry. I am Yi Xiaoxi from the Yi clan. I can do it, Yi Xiaoluo said. Just do your best. Actually, this is a test for yourself. See where you are among the same level of cultivators. Night Sorrow looked at Yi Xiaoluo and said. Yi Xiaoluo nodded. He knew that his father did not want him to feel pressured and had never given him any pressure. Although Night Sorrow had given Yi Xiaoluo some pointers, he was still confident in Yi Xiaoluo. Among his children, Yi Xiaoluo's talent was the highest. He was born with a strong body, so his speed and strength were much higher than other cultivators of the same level. This was because he had inherited the genetic advantage of Night Sorrow and Datura. Not only did Yi Xiaoluo cultivate a spacetime attribute technique, but he had also cultivated Datura's Death Annihilation /. Night Sorrow, what is your Yi clan trying to do? You've taken the king leaderboard and reserved the heaven leaderboard. Could it be that you want to try for the emperor leaderboard as well? The golden dragon king asked Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow smiled and didn't say anything. He didn't have any requirements for his children, but he was very supportive of their aspirations. The battle for the emperor leaderboard was more interesting than the battle for the king leaderboard. It could be said that it was very intense. Yi Xiaoluo's cultivation was only at the middle level of the emperor realm, but his battle strength was impressive. One after another, 3-star emperors were defeated and thrown out of the arena. High fighting spirit. It's very similar to your style. Amazing. If it's a 3-star emperor, then the first place of the mortal leaderboard will be firmly in your hands. Even if it's a 2-star emperor, you might have a chance. The Golden Dragon King admired Yi Xiaoluo very much. Night Sorrow was also very satisfied. He didn't care about the ranking his son could get. It was enough for him to prove himself and be able to confirm his path in the battle with others. However, the originally smooth battle went wrong. Yi Xiaoluo was schemed against by someone called Zhuge Wu. This Zhuge Wu used a hidden weapon, a flying needle filled with destructive energy. Even though Yi Xiaoluo had used the space-time realm, he was still hit by this hidden weapon called Tianluo Needle. When Emperor Tang wanted to stop it, the Grand Elder shook his head. Although this Zhuge Wu's method was despicable, it was still within the rules. The injured Yi Xiaoluo was furious. He used the Soul Attack Soul Destruction Slash, followed by the Spatial Crack to block Zhuge Wu's escape route. Then, he used the Death Destruction Slash. If he couldn't kill the person who admitted defeat, then if Zhuge Wu didn't admit defeat, he could kill him. Zhuge Wu, who was hit by Yi Xiaoluo's Soul Destruction Slash, was stunned. Then, he faced Yi Xiaoluo's Death Destruction Slash. Bastard, how dare you! Zhuge Hou of the law enforcement team flashed and rushed towards the arena. At the same time, a sword chi shot towards Yi Xiaoluo. Emperor Tang made his move. He went up the arena and grabbed Zhuge Wu and threw him out of the arena. At the same time, he blocked the path of Zhuge Hou's sword chi. At this time, Night Sorrow also made his move. He was very angry. Zhuge Wu's use of hidden weapons was within the rules, but it also proved that he was a despicable person. Now that Zhuge Hou attacked Yi Xiaoluo, this was something he couldn't tolerate. Reincarnation Field. After using the Void Steps to get close to Zhuge Hou, Night Sorrow released his Reincarnation Field to cancel out Zhuge Hou's sword chi. Then, he used the Desolation Palm. When the negative effect of the Desolation Palm affected Zhuge Hou, Night Sorrow used his ultimate skill again. He used the space-time realm. When his body appeared again, he was in front of Zhuge Hou. Then, a shining golden brick appeared and slapped Zhuge Hou's face. Crack! A cracking sound was heard. Zhuge Hou's face was flattened by Night Sorrow's slap. When Zhuge Hou's body was slapped back, Night Sorrow used the Human Emperor's seal in his right hand to smash Zhuge Hou to the ground. After smashing Zhuge Hou, Night Sorrow looked at Zhuge Qian who stood up beside the elders' seats. What? You want to go up the arena too? Zhuge Qian looked at Night Sorrow and didn't say anything. He knew that it wouldn't be good for him if they made a scene. Besides, he could see that Night Sorrow didn't have the intention to kill Zhuge Hou. If we follow the rules, I won't say anything. But are there any rules to talk about now? Night Sorrow kicked Zhuge Hou's head again. Night Sorrow, don't forget that you're the commander of the Heaven Wasteland Army. This isn't a place for you to be presumptuous. Zhuge Qian's face was very ugly because Night Sorrow didn't give him any face. If I'm the commander of the Heaven Wasteland Army, then isn't he? He attacked beside you. Are you blind? Can't you see? Night Sorrow stretched out his right hand and the Samsara halberd appeared in his hand. If Zhuge Qian wanted to fight, he would definitely accompany him. Presumptuous. Zhuge Qian pointed at Night Sorrow and roared again. There are rules for everything. If the Yi family members are not as good as others and lose, I have nothing to say. What are you doing? Night Sorrow pointed the Samsara halberd at Zhuge Qian. He had tolerated Zhuge Qian once, but this time he didn't want to do it again. No matter what status he had in the human race or in the 100 Races Alliance, he was first and foremost the father of his children. Night Sorrow, you go down first. I'll deal with this. The Grand Elder stood up. Night Sorrow cupped his hands at the judge's seat where the City Lord and Grand Elder were sitting. It's not appropriate for me to stand here today. If the Council of Elders has any punishment, I, Night Sorrow, will accept it. Zhuge Qian, remember, today is the beginning between us. After finishing his words, Night Sorrow glanced at Zhuge Qian and then left the martial arts arena. Come, take Zhuge Ho down. The Council of Elders will definitely deal with this matter. Today's competition for the ranking list of young masters will end here. The competition for the ranking list of young masters will continue tomorrow. The Council of Elders will also come to a conclusion about today's matter. The Grand Elder announced the end of today's competition. The Grand Elder announced the end of today's competition, but no one left, because the two sides of the conflict did not move. Night Sorrow returned to the area of the Samsara Island and sat on the big chair with his eyes closed. Zhuge Qian did not leave either. You're showing off. Zhuge Qian, you're bullshit. Pu Luo stood up. Chapter 2041. Pu Luo, who do you think you are? What right do you have to yell at us? Zhuge Qian felt embarrassed after being called out by Pu Luo. I can't stand it, so what if I scold you? You're the great guardian, what a disgrace. What can you do? No matter what you want, our humanitarian league will accept it. Manager June, gather the troops and wait for the end of the meeting of heroes to flatten the Zhuge region. The great demon king stood up and scolded Zhuge Qian, then turned to Jun Xuanji and instructed him. Good. Everything will be ready in 3 days, Jun Xuanji said. Ha! Was this all the Human Dao Alliance could do? You can't scare people. Yi Shang, you're just relying on the people behind you. Zhuge Qian sneered. It's not up to you to judge whether the Humanitarian League is useless or not. We won't scare people, we'll settle the score after the meeting of heroes. Alright, Pu Luo, let's go back. Night Sorrow stood up and left the training ground. Seeing Night Sorrow leave, the troops of the Samsara Island and the Humanitarian League followed behind Night Sorrow. You wait. Ruisi, who was more arrogant, pointed at Zhuge Qian. Pu Luo, Misty, you guys go to the elders' meeting first. We'll discuss how to deal with today's matter. The Grand Elder stopped Pu Luo. Night Sorrow asked Nan Yong to bring the Heaven Wasteland army back to the encampment, while he returned to the mansion with the Humanitarian League, his wife and children. After greeting his wife, Night Sorrow brought Yi Xiaoluo into the Haotian Divine Pagoda. He then used the reincarnation energy to enter Yi Xiaoluo's body, forcing the destructive energy of the Heaven Luo needle out of Yi Xiaoluo's body. There's no residual energy in your body. You'll have to recover slowly and repair the damaged veins, Night Sorrow nodded to Yi Xiaoluo. At this moment, the mayor, the Grand Elder, the leader of the Divine Beast clan, and the elders were all in the Wasteland Tower. Let's talk about what happened today. What are your thoughts and opinions? The Grand Elder looked at the enforcement elders and one pole elders and asked. I'm not satisfied, but I won't express my opinion, Pu Luo said. T8-inch we, the Humanitarian League, do not express our views. The Great Demon King, who had noticed the look in the Grand Elder's eyes, said. The few people from the Humanitarian League knew that they would be dealing with Zhuge Qian and the Zhuge family later, so there was no point in saying those things. Lu Qi, what do you think of this? The Grand Elder shook his head helplessly. He could see that the members of the Humanitarian League were of one mind. It was useless to ask for their opinions. Let's start from the beginning. Zhuge Wu used a hidden weapon in the battle for the Imperial ranking list, which proves that he has no bottom line. Then Zhuge Hou attacked Yi Xiaoluo, which is even worse. This is the Zhuge family's problem. Then let's talk about Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow didn't attack Zhuge Wu, so he didn't interfere in the battle for the Imperial ranking list. His conflict with Zhuge Hou should be considered a personal conflict, so I don't think there should be any punishment, Lu Qi said. That's what I think as well. There's nothing wrong with his actions. If there's anything wrong with his actions, it would be that he didn't give face to the Assembly of Elders. However, if he really didn't give face to the Assembly of Elders, then Zhuge Hou would already be a corpse, Tang Zong said. That's true. He left Zhuge Hou some leeway by not killing him. You should know that Zhuge Wu was already unscrupulous to his son, and Zhuge Hou wanted to hurt him. As a father, how could he hold back? What he said was right. No matter what status he has in the Wasteland City and the 100 Races Alliance, he's still a father. He's been working hard to cultivate, so he can give his children a stable life, Qin Qinjie said. I understand your attitude. Then let's talk about the punishment. Zhuge Hou went too far today, so he's not suitable to be the commander of the Heaven Wasteland Army. My intention is to directly remove him from his position in the Heaven Wasteland Army. As for Zhuge Qian, he only had a conflict with Night Sorrow, so there's no need to punish him. The Grand Elder thought for a while and made a decision. As for Night Sorrow, let him handle this matter himself, Tran Hung said as she stood up and left. After the matter was settled, the Council of Elders adjourned. The leaders of the various divine beast races came to Night Sorrow's residence, and the elders of the Humanitarian League also came. Night Sorrow brewed a pot of tea and looked at them. It's settled. How did you punish me? There's no punishment for you, the Golden Dragon King said. Even if there's no punishment, we can't just let it go. We have to give them an explanation tomorrow, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Explanation. If there's no punishment, then there's nothing wrong. There's no need for that, right? Huang Ling said. Although I feel that I did nothing wrong, the rules of the Heaven Wasteland City have to be respected, and the Council of Elders of the 100 Races has to be protected. Night Sorrow sighed and gave his reason. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, the Golden Dragon King, Huang Ling, the Heavenly Astral King, and the Blood Kirin King all nodded. They knew that this was the big picture and the magnanimity of a human emperor. After a night, Yi Xiaoluo came out of seclusion. He had cultivated in the Haotian Divine Pagoda for half a month and had recovered from his injuries. He would not delay the competition for the Imperial ranking list of young masters. Night Sorrow brought people to the martial arts practice field of the Heaven Wasteland City. Seeing that everyone had arrived, the Grand Elder stood up and announced Zhuge Hou's punishment. He removed all of Zhuge Hou's positions in the Heaven Wasteland City. In addition, the Grand Elder warned Zhuge Wu that he was not allowed to use the Tianluo needle in the competition. No one else was allowed to use such a vicious hidden weapon. After seeing the Grand Elder sit down, Night Sorrow stood up. I, Night Sorrow, will also give an explanation for what happened yesterday. After the meeting of heroes is over, I will confine myself to the Reincarnation Island for 30 years, Night Sorrow said. 30 years. The one you crippled yesterday was the commander of the Heaven Wasteland Army. After hearing Night Sorrow's self-punishment, Zhuge Qian was very dissatisfied. He was even dissatisfied with the Council of Elders because he was looking at the Council of Elders at this moment. Then what do you want me to do? What does my business have to do with you? Is it your turn to speak? Night Sorrow smiled. At this moment, Zhuge Qian was completely listed as an enemy in his heart. Who do you think you are? Long Jin, who had been suppressing the anger in his heart, stood up. Damn it, I really spoiled you. Is it your turn to criticize me? Tianyu also stood up. The two of you sit down. I will handle this matter. Zhuge Qian, remember, you can't interfere with my business. We will settle our debts slowly. Night Sorrow's face was still full of smiles. Alright, this matter will end here. Zhuge Qian, you also shut up. What do you have to jump, and what qualifications do you have to jump? Tran Hung opened her mouth. Her originally calm eyes became sharp. Chapter 2042. Hearing Tran Hung's words, Zhuge Qian's expression changed. However, he still bowed politely before sitting down. In the celestial realm, no one dared to question the authority of Tran Hung. Zhuge Qian, the great guardian of the mythical castle, was not enough. Tran Hung did not even need a reason to kill him. Why? Because Tran Hung's contributions to the 100 races in the celestial realm were unparalleled. He was selfless and everyone believed in him. The conflict had come to an end. This incident also made the participants of the meeting of heroes understand the current situation. The competition for the imperial ranking list continued. Night Sorrow sat there and watched. When he noticed his son's shortcomings, he would give him some pointers after he left the arena so that he would know where his weaknesses were. There were many strong opponents. However, Yi Xiaoluo relied on the fusion of the spacetime attribute and the death attribute. In addition, he had many unique skills that allowed him to overcome all obstacles. After the list of 30 people was released, he was ranked first. With his 2-star Emperor cultivation, he was ranked before the 3-star Emperors. This was because Yi Xiaoluo's unique skill, the spacetime realm, was too powerful. His spacetime realm was different from Night Sorrow's. He cultivated the death domain spacetime realm. Before he used the spacetime realm, there would be death energy, rules, willpower, and the momentum of heaven and earth exploding, forming a death domain. This made the spacetime realm even more powerful. After 2 rounds, no one challenged Yi Xiaoluo. Other than Yi Xiaoluo's strong combat power, which the spacetime realm could not be broken, Yi Xiaoluo's battle intent was very strong. Anyone who fought with him would feel pressured. At this time, no one wanted to lose their momentum. In the 3rd round, which was the last round, 2 people challenged Yi Xiaoluo. However, they were both defeated by Yi Xiaoluo. Yi Xiaoluo won the last round with difficulty. It could even be described as tragic. Because of the 3rd and 2nd consecutive challenges, Yi Xiaoluo was not in his best condition in the last battle. He used his willpower, tenacity, and perseverance to win. The blood flowing from his chest did not seem to be his. After Emperor Tang received the reply that Yi Xiaoluo, who was ranked first, would not challenge him, he handed the name list to Tran Hung. Tran Hung took out a silver list with golden edges and threw it into the air. Then, he engraved the names of the 30 people on the list. Yi Xiaoluo, your body, hair, and skin were given to you by your parents. In the future, you should be more flexible in battle. Don't go all out. Sometimes, living is not for yourself, but for the people who care about you. Tran Hung looked at Yi Xiaoluo and said, "Thank you for your guidance, City Lord." Yi Xiaoluo bowed. Yi Xiaoluo, who had returned to the camp area of Samsara Island, bowed to his parents. Through Tran Hung's words, he understood that he had made his parents worry. Go and rest. Night Sorrow nodded at Yi Xiaoluo. He knew that Yi Xiaoluo understood some things. The Yi family didn't participate in the Emperor Earth ranking contest because the Yi family only had one emperor, Datura. Night Sorrow didn't allow Datura to participate. The Emperor Earth ranking contest progressed rather slowly. At this stage, no one was weak. Each battle took a longer time. As the battle progressed, everyone realized that the Emperor Earth ranking contest was dominated by Samsara Island's number 1 territory. The lowest cultivation in the number 1 territory was an emperor. 13th brother, I regret it. With my current cultivation, I can't stand out in the Emperor realm and I can't participate in the Earth ranking contest. Yi Mei said with some hesitation. This is nothing. So what if you are on the Earth ranking? You still have to enter the Emperor realm in the end. Knight Sorrow smiled. When the Emperor Earth ranking contest reached the ranking contest, other than the Fire Qilin young master and an elite from the White Tiger race, Samsara Island occupied more than a dozen spots, which was close to half. The highest was by Lingling, who was ranked 3rd. Knight Sorrow was very satisfied with such results. Samsara Island was the biggest winner so far in the Meeting of Heroes. The Primal Chaos Domain was the biggest winner. After the Emperor Earth ranking contest, Knight Sorrow went to the Heaven Wasteland Army's encampment to celebrate. Now, all the members of the 100 races in the Celestial Realm knew that the number 1 territory was the number 1 territory because of their strength. During the celebration, Knight Sorrow's children wanted to join the God-slaying team. However, Knight Sorrow rejected them because he didn't want to give the other members of the God-slaying team pressure and worry. If his children joined, there would definitely be an impact. After the contest for the King ranking, Human ranking, and Earth ranking was over, the most valuable Heaven ranking was left. After resting for a day, the Heaven ranking contest officially began. Knight Sorrow wore Night Moon's King battle intent and battle boots. There were relatively fewer cultivators participating in the Heaven ranking contest, less than 100 people. After all, there were only so many emperors in the Celestial Realm. Moreover, those who could participate in the Heaven ranking contest were all confident emperors. If they weren't peak emperors, they would be middle-class emperors. With fewer people, there wasn't a need to use an array to eliminate them like the previous 3 ranking contests. Instead, it was a one-on-one battle. Long Jin and Tianyu also participated. After receiving the news of the Meeting of Heroes, the two returned to their race ground and underwent time-accelerated cultivation. Although their cultivation didn't increase, they did increase by quite a bit. They were both at the peak of the initial stage Emperor rank. If they were lucky, they could enter the middle-class Emperor rank at any time. The two of them knew that their cultivation wasn't enough, but they wanted to use their outstanding battle strength to try. Lin Yun, Nan Yong, Shi Qing, and Song Jingang also signed up for the Heaven ranking contest. After 3 rounds of battle, Knight Sorrow defeated 3 people and entered the top 30. It wasn't difficult at all. The unlucky one was Tianyu. Tianyu and Long Jin met in the second round. The two didn't fight head-on. The weaker Tianyu immediately admitted defeat. If they continued fighting, Long Jin's trump card would be revealed. He didn't have a chance of winning Long Jin, so there was no need to fight. On the other hand, Song Jingang lost to an expert from the White Tiger race. Under such circumstances, the Samsara Islands members who entered the top 30 were Knight Sorrow, Nan Yong, Shi Qing, Lin Yun, and Long Jin. They were one more person than Knight Sorrow's target. In the ranking of the top 30, Knight Sorrow was ranked first. It wasn't because Knight Sorrow revealed too many trump cards, but because Knight Sorrow revealed too few trump cards. With the Samsara Heavenly Halberd in his hand, he used his speed and strength to defeat his opponent. No one was dissatisfied with this ranking, and no one questioned it. There was no point in questioning it. If you felt it wasn't suitable, then you could challenge it. Sitting in the first place, Knight Sorrow closed his eyes. He compared the top 30 people. There were a few who were strong. White Tiger race's Lin Chuan, Ice Phoenix race's Huang Jia, Azure Dragon's Long Hao, and Human race's Duan Chen Shui. These people were ranked behind Night Sorrow. Lin Yun was ranked 8th. Zhuge Ho, who was hit by Night Sorrow's golden brick, was also in the top 30. However, his ranking was rather low. He was defeated by Night Sorrow, but with the spatial treasure's acceleration, a few days were enough for him to recover. Starter C8. Chapter 2043. The virtuous emperor has never been defeated since his debut. With this qualification, he is qualified to be ranked first. However, we still have to give it a try, said Lin Chuan, who was sitting beside Yi Shang. Is it useful? Yi Xiaoluo's time-space realm is obtained from Commander Knight. Without a way to break the time-space realm, there is no way to defeat a commander. Huang Jia, who was sitting beside Lin Chuan, said. That absolute art is very tyrannical, but it has different effects in front of different opponents. Plus, I'm just saying to try. Lin Chuan glanced at Huang Jia. Let's not talk about this ranking. Exchanging pointers can allow us to understand our own weaknesses. It is beneficial. Therefore, I also think it is necessary. Night Sorrow said. Lin Chuan, Huang Jie, Duan Qianshui, and Long Hao all nodded. They knew Night Sorrow's idea was right. The challenge was very intense. Nan Yong lost. It was already hard for him to enter the top 30. Shiqing also lost a match. It wasn't that they were weak. It was the battle of the 30 strongest emperors in the celestial realm. It wasn't easy for them to enter the top 30 list. However, Lin Yun and the Golden Dragon won. The two of them were the direct descendants of top-tier divine beasts and had a very deep foundation. Long Jin entered the top 20 while Lin Yun rushed to the 6th place. When it was the 5th place Duan Qianshui's turn, he stood up and walked onto the stage. It's boring to challenge those in front. Commander Knight, let me test your foundation first. It was within the rules to challenge those who were 5 ranks higher than oneself. Night Sorrow didn't have any reason to refuse. Holding the reincarnation heavenly halberd, Night Sorrow walked onto the stage. Everyone says you are very strong. However, in the previous few battles, your performance wasn't enough. You have to take out the strength to sit at the top. Sorry for the offense. Duan Qianshui said. No worries. Come. Night Sorrow nodded. He didn't reject this kind of battle. After the battle started, everyone noticed the difference between top-tier emperor rank cultivators. Duan Qianshui was very strong, his speed and attack strength were very high. Under the cover of his domain, he constantly attacked Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow's reincarnation heavenly halberd danced. His moves were very simple, but every attack was just right, blocking Duan Qianshui's attacks. With a low roar, Duan Qianshui used his absolute art. The space around Night Sorrow's body started to distort. Yi Shan knew that this was a domain-type technique. It had a strong suppressive effect and was a rare control technique. After Duan Qianshui released his domain technique, a light appeared on Night Sorrow's body. It was the light of reincarnation energy. The reincarnation energy directly suppressed Duan Qianshui's domain. After blocking Duan Qianshui's ultimate move, Yi Shang's figure flashed as he started to attack. Once Night Sorrow's attack speed increased, Duan Qianshui was forced to switch from attacking to defending. However, defending was useless. After blocking Night Sorrow's attack, his body was sent flying and his blood qi became unstable. The main reason was that Night Sorrow's attacks were too violent. The moment their weapons clashed, the reincarnation energy invaded Duan Qianshui's body and turned into a foreign energy that constantly damaged his body. After being suppressed by the reincarnation attribute, Duan Qianshui's strength clearly decreased. He couldn't stop Night Sorrow's 3rd reincarnation heavenly halberd attack and was knocked out of the martial arts arena. Falling out of the martial arts arena meant he lost according to the rules. Duan Qianshui was very straightforward. He cupped his hands towards Emperor Tang and reported the result of this battle. After Duan Qianshui was done, it was the Azure Dragon's Long Hao's turn. Long Hao was more familiar with Night Sorrow. Long Yixing introduced him to Night Sorrow. Long Hao was the strongest among the Azure Dragon's younger generation. His strength was close to that of an Emperor's Tribulation cultivator. His comprehension of the power of heaven and earth was enough for him to pass the Heavenly Tao Emperor's Tribulation. However, he planned to wait for the end of this minor era. Long Hao's situation was very common. Not all cultivators were like Night Sorrow and had the idea of passing the Heavenly Tao Emperor's Tribulation. After all, the Heavenly Tao Emperor's Tribulation was very dangerous. In the past, the extremely powerful Lin Piamiao, Great Devil King, and Fan Tian didn't choose to pass the Heavenly Tao Emperor's Tribulation. They left some leeway for themselves. Long Hao cupped his hands towards Night Sorrow. Commander Knight, take a rest first. When you recover to your peak condition, I will give it a try. Night Sorrow shook his head. Come. I didn't consume much energy in the sparring just now. Soon after, the two of them went up the stage. When Emperor Tang announced the start of the battle, Long Hao immediately transformed and used his strongest strength to fight against Night Sorrow. He had just witnessed the battle between Night Sorrow and Duan Qianshui, so he had a better understanding of Night Sorrow's strength. He understood that if he didn't fight with his full strength, he wouldn't stand a chance. Seeing Long Hao use the dragon's absolute art, dragon roaming the world, Night Sorrow stabbed the Samsara Heavenly Halberd to his side and used the Desolation Nirvana Palm, slamming it towards Long Hao's energy attack. The sound of energy clashing rang out continuously. Night Sorrow's body didn't move an inch, but Long Hao's huge dragon body was constantly rolling due to the impact. Come down. With a deep roar, Night Sorrow grabbed the Samsara Heavenly Halberd with his right hand. His body flashed as he used the void steps and caught up with the Azure Dragon's head that was pushed back by his palm. When he got close to the Azure Dragon's head, Night Sorrow stretched out his left hand. His left hand, which was glowing with black light, pierced into Long Hao's dragon horn. He then closed his hand and grabbed the hardest part of the dragon horn. Following which, he pressed Long Hao's body towards the ground. With the weight of the Samsara Heavenly Halberd in his right hand, Night Sorrow pressed Long Hao, who had transformed into the Azure Dragon, to the ground. Following which, he twisted his body and swung his left hand forcefully. Long Hao's huge body was swung to the ground by Night Sorrow like a huge whip. Following which, Long Hao, who was fiercely resisting, stopped moving. His huge dragon eyes were filled with disbelief because Night Sorrow's Samsara Heavenly Halberd was placed on his neck. Retracting his left hand, Night Sorrow took a few steps back. This was not a battle of life and death. It was enough to win the battle. Your strength is stronger than us dragons. I accept my defeat wholeheartedly. Long Hao nodded at Night Sorrow. Following which, he admitted defeat to Emperor Tang. Night Sorrow and Long Hao returned to their respective positions in the 30-person ranking battle. Next, it was time for the third place, Wang Jia of the Ice Phoenix clan to challenge. Commander Knight is strong. It's not suitable for me to challenge him now. I'll leave it for the next round. Lin Chuan, let's fight first. Huang Jia of the Ice Phoenix clan stood up and walked up to the arena. Tian Xing, what do you think of the battle between Huang Jia and Lin Chuan? Huang Ling looked at her husband and asked. She originally thought highly of Huang Jia because before Wu Lingfei was born, Huang Jia was the most outstanding member of the younger generation of the Ice Phoenix clan. Actually, the battle between them is a head-on clash of absolute skills. If Huang Jia's frozen space can block Lin Chuan's Western White Tiger kill, she will win. If not, she will lose. Of course, the difference between second and third place is not that big, Tianxing said. It seems that Heavenly Astral King has a judgment of the heaven list's ranking. Blood Kirin King asked. According to the strength displayed, yes. Heavenly Astral King nodded. Chapter 2044. Oh, it seems like I don't know enough about this rising star of the Ice Phoenix race. Hearing Huang Ling's words, Heavenly Astral Monarch was stunned. She comprehended by analogy and cultivated our race's absolute art, extreme cold world. This is the third person in our race's history, Huang Ling said. Heavenly Astral Monarch didn't know about this. She wasn't hiding anything from her husband. Extreme cold world. Then she has a good chance of getting first place. Heavenly Astral Monarch smiled. The cultivation of extreme cold world was extremely rare. Even he didn't grasp it because his attributes weren't up to standard. Impossible. Tran Hung swirled the teacup in her hand and took a sip of tea. Heavenly Astral Monarch, Huang Ling, and Blood Qilin Monarch all looked at Tran Hung because Tran Hung's meaning was obvious. Even if Huang Jia cultivated extreme cold world, it was useless. It's meaningless to say it clearly. Let's wait and see the result. Tran Hung smiled but didn't say it clearly. Huang Ling and Lin Chuan started fighting. The wind and clouds on the entire stage changed. The battle was very intense. One was an outstanding elite of the White Tiger race and the other was a genius of the Ice Phoenix race. Both of them were top divine beast races. Their combat power was far beyond ordinary emperor rank cultivators. The White Tiger race was a battle race. Lin Chuan attacked Huang Jia without any defense. His Dao was the Dao of attack. Huang Jia's body flashed and dodged Lin Chuan's attacks. At the same time, she kept using Ice Seal to control Lin Chuan's attacks. Lin Chuan's attacks were integrated with the Western White Tiger kill. It could be said that each move contained the essence of the Western White Tiger kill. The two fought a contradictory battle. The stage was impacted by the two's energy. One was extreme cold chi and the other was bloody slaughter chi. After fighting for 15 minutes, Huang Jia's white dress fluttered. Lin Chuan, you've been attacking for a while. Then, try my extreme cold world. As Huang Jia's voice fell, green energy appeared on her body. Then, the energy spread and integrated into the heaven and earth. When the green energy merged with the heaven and earth, the energy structure of the heaven and earth in the arena changed. Extremely cold energy appeared in the entire arena, then gathered and pressed down on Lin Chuan. The power of extreme frost appeared, and the space around Lin Chuan was completely frozen. His White Tiger kill could break through, but its speed and attack power were greatly reduced. At this moment, Huang Jia, who could move freely in this area, had completely surpassed Lin Chuan in terms of combat strength. Her attacks landed on Lin Chuan consecutively. In the end, she sent Lin Chuan flying out of the training grounds. Lin Chuan, who had landed outside the arena, reached out his hand and patted the ice off his body. Then, he smiled. This secret art is indeed powerful. Elder Emperor Tang, I've lost this round. After saluting Emperor Tang, Lin Chuan went to the third seat and sat down. Huang Jia, do you want to continue or stop? Emperor Tang asked Huang Jia. I forfeit this round. Huang Jia bowed to Emperor Tang and sat in the second seat. After Huang Jia's challenge ended, Emperor Tang asked Lin Chuan, who was currently ranked third. I forfeit this round as well. Let's fight again in the next round. Lin Chuan thought for a moment and said. His current condition wasn't good. It wasn't realistic for him to fight Night Sorrow. As for fighting Huang Jia again, he hadn't thought of a way to break through the extremely cold world, so it was useless to fight. When it was Knight Sorrow's turn, after hearing Emperor Tang's question, Knight Sorrow shook his head. He had also given up. The first round of challenge had ended. The biggest variable was the change of position between the second and third place. Because the Heaven List competition was the pinnacle of this year's meeting of heroes, the elders had given them time to rest and recuperate. Knight Sorrow closed his eyes to rest. In the previous battle, he had witnessed Huang Jie's and Lin Chuan's strength. However, he wasn't surprised. It was normal for the Divine Beast clan's Heaven's Pride to have trump cards. He wasn't afraid either. It wasn't like he didn't have any foundation. 6 hours later, the second round of challenge began. Intense battles once again appeared on the martial arts arena. Knight Sorrow watched seriously. He wanted to see how the others used and understood each attribute. One must know that these elites all possessed high-level attributes. They were all using high-level attributes to fight with other attributes. Everyone's understanding of attributes was different. He had something to learn from. Are you interested in all these? Aren't you going to consider her challenge to you? Lin Chuan turned his head and asked Knight Sorrow. If I were to consider, shouldn't I also consider your challenge to me first? Because you are before her. Knight Sorrow smiled. I will consider forfeiting this round and let her challenge you. No matter who is ranked first, wait for the third round to accept my challenge. Lin Chuan said. You are very smart. Are you trying to find a flaw in our battle? Then we will settle the matter in one battle and take the first place of the Heaven Board. Huang Jia looked at Lin Chuan with disdain. How can you think like that? It is possible to get first place by doing this. It is just a possibility. However, the Heaven Board can be challenged at any time. Even if you lose in the ranking battle, you can fight back at any time. So, some schemes are useless. Why bother? You have the heart of a villain. It should be that the heart of a woman is too small. Lin Chuan shook his head. I am just analyzing. You are making a big fuss. Is there any meaning to it? Huang Jia was embarrassed by Lin Chuan's words. Lin Chuan wouldn't think like that. He was just saying. Yi Shan explained on behalf of Lin Chuan. He trusted Lin Chuan on this point because Lin Chuan's eyes were sharp and his gaze did not evade at all. He was not the kind of cultivator who had complicated thoughts. Both of you are in the same boat. But it doesn't matter. I will fight whoever is in front of me. Huang Jia turned her head to the side. The judge's evaluation of the strength of the participants was very objective and accurate. Unless the participants did not show their full strength. In this case, it was extremely difficult to succeed in the challenge. When the second round of challenges began, there were only a few winners. The few from the Samsara Island all failed, and so did the other contestants. Then it was Lin Yun's turn, who was ranked 6th. Lin Yun attacked the Azure Dragons, Long Hao, who was ranked 4th. In the last stage, she used the power of virtue to influence the energy of heaven and earth to support herself. She suppressed Long Hao and defeated him. Long Hao's actual strength was much higher than Lin Yun's. This battle also let the cultivators know the overbearing power of the body of virtue. The cultivators of the body of virtue were recognized by the heavenly Tao. Although they couldn't directly defeat their opponents, they could influence the energy of heaven and earth. This was a great help, an unbreakable help. After defeating Long Hao, Lin Yun gave up the challenge. She was now ranked 4th. She couldn't shake the top 3. Then, it was Long Hao's turn to challenge. After thinking for a while, he gave up. When it came to Duan Qianshui, who was ranked 5th, he also gave up. After watching several battles, he knew the strength of the top few. There was no need to challenge them even if he knew he couldn't win. When it was Lin Chuan's turn, Lin Chuan also gave up this round. Chapter 2045. Night Sorrow, come on. Let's have a fight and show me your strength, Huang Jia said to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow nodded and walked to the arena. He knew that if he wanted to secure the first place, he had to accept the challenges from the top few participants. Duan Qianshui and Long Hao had already fought. Only Huang Jia and Lin Chuan were left. If he defeated the two of them, it would be more or less enough. On the arena, Night Sorrow waved his samsara halberd and nodded to Huang Jia. Huang Jia swung her long sword and executed the frozen space. She started to control the space around Night Sorrow. Although the frozen space wasn't as good as the frozen world, it was still a powerful controlling domain battle technique. If it couldn't be broken, all aspects of the battle technique would be reduced. After executing the frozen space, Huang Jia waved her long sword and charged towards Night Sorrow. This sword was also an absolute art. It was the Ice Phoenix race's wing slash. Void energy appeared on Night Sorrow's body. Then, a shockwave spread out in all directions. Huang Jia's frozen space was shattered by the shockwave from Night Sorrow's domain. Night Sorrow waved his samsara halberd and executed the void extreme kill. It hit Huang Jia's long sword, who was caught off guard. Following an explosion, Huang Jia's body was sent flying by Night Sorrow's halberd. She was blasted to the edge of the arena. Night Sorrow didn't chase after her. If he did, Huang Jia would probably be defeated. Huang Jia, who was standing at the edge of the arena, had a change of expression. She knew that Night Sorrow was strong, but she didn't expect him to be this strong. Putting aside the fact that he blasted his energy into her body, she couldn't withstand the immense power. Very strong. Let's try my absolute frost world. Green energy appeared on Huang Jia's body and blended into the surroundings of the arena. Then, it pressed towards Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow was surrounded by ice. Huang Jia wanted to freeze Night Sorrow as well. After feeling Huang Jia's extreme cold world, Night Sorrow's territory switched to the reincarnation territory. With the release of his territory, the frozen space instantly melted. It was as if the impact did not reach Night Sorrow. The space around Night Sorrow was not affected at all. With a stomp of his feet, Night Sorrow used afterimage body. At the same time, he used void steps to get close to Huang Jia. Then, he swung his samsara halberd at her. The extreme cold world did not have any effect. Huang Jia's heart was filled with shock. Her body flashed and dodged. At the same time, she continued to cast the extreme cold world. The scene turned into a chase. As a genius of the Divine Beast Ice Phoenix clan, Huang Jia's speed was also extremely good. The two attacks missed. Night Sorrow's reincarnation domain, which was originally only used to protect himself, rippled out in all directions and enveloped Huang Jia. After being attacked by the reincarnation domain, Huang Jia's momentum of heaven and earth, which was also the territory space, was suppressed. Only a small oval space was left to envelop her. In such a situation, her speed was greatly reduced. Desolate Nirvana Palm. Night Sorrow's left hand struck out a desolate Nirvana palm toward Huang Jia's head. Then, the samsara halberd in his right hand displayed the destruction true dragon incantation. Huang Jia's long sword rose and blocked the desolate Nirvana palm. However, the space-time influence of the desolate Nirvana palm had stopped her body from moving. At the same time, her body was attacked by the destruction true dragon incantation. When she reacted, Night Sorrow's samsara halberd had already pierced through her protective energy and stopped in front of her throat. She could even feel that if she moved or dodged, her neck would be cut off by Night Sorrow's samsara halberd. If her neck was cut off, her flesh and blood could be regenerated. However, it would be ugly. She knew that Night Sorrow wanted to end the battle and wanted her to admit defeat. Huang Jia smiled and pointed at Night Sorrow's samsara halberd. Then, she stepped back and cupped her hands at Emperor Tang to announce that she had admitted defeat. After Emperor Tang announced the result of the battle, the two of them returned to their seats. Huang Jia did not have any special emotions after losing. She was convinced of her loss. She knew that Night Sorrow had too many secret techniques that he had not displayed. In other words, she did not even have the strength to force Night Sorrow to use his secret technique. The space-time realm was the signature secret technique of the Yi family. Night Sorrow did not even use it. After returning to his seat, Night Sorrow did not sit down. This was because it was his turn to challenge. Lin Chuan, you only have one chance to challenge. There are too many variables and it might not be enough for you. This time, I will challenge you, Night Sorrow said to Lin Chuan. Bring it on. Lin Chuan's body flashed and appeared on the stage. Night Sorrow also returned to the stage. Night Sorrow, I have a high chance of losing this battle. However, no matter who wins or loses, I, Lin Chuan, am very impressed by you. Lin Chuan cupped his hands at Night Sorrow. The ranking is not important. I just want to fight to my heart's content and feel the strength of others. Night Sorrow smiled. Lin Chuan's battle intent surged as he stared at Night Sorrow. This battle is worth watching. It is different from the previous battles. In the previous battles, Huang Jia was good at defense. Lin Chuan's attack was countered by Huang Jia's extreme cold world. Therefore, there was nothing to watch. Night Sorrow is good at offense. Between him and Lin Chuan, it will be a battle of whose Tao of offense is stronger. Long Yixing said. To be honest, Night Sorrow has come in contact with too many experts. His vision, skills, and strength are no longer at the level of the Emperor realm. Tran Hung said. That's right. He has seen the techniques of Long Zhe and the others in the Blood Qilin Mountain. He has also seen Mo Tianji's techniques. On the Reincarnation Island, he also clashed with Mo Yutian twice. Although his cultivation is at the Emperor realm, his strength is at the Emperor realm. The Grand Elder said. Although he has a high chance of winning, I am still looking forward to this battle. Heavenly Astral Monarch said. Night Sorrow, I, Lin Chuan, am from the White Tiger race. Although I have lost, I hope that I will lose honorably. I hope that you can fight in your strongest state. Lin Chuan said to Night Sorrow. I have been suppressing my desire for battle in this heaven ranking competition. The main reason is that I don't want to hurt the confidence of others. However, to be honest, it is uncomfortable to fight conservatively. Let's fight with all our might. Night Sorrow took a deep breath. Following which, the energy on his body exploded. It was the reincarnation territory. Golden light appeared as the territory was supported by the power of virtue. It spread out in all directions. Lin Chuan's expression changed. He realized that the territory he released was being suppressed. At this moment, Night Sorrow was in the air. The reincarnation halberd was slashing towards him. The space was already unstable. Night Sorrow's halberd was launched with a battle technique. Lin Chuan could feel the intense vibrations, fluctuations, and penetrating power. Dodge! Run! Lin Chuan immediately ran. He knew that he couldn't take Night Sorrow's attack head-on. If he did, he would be injured and there would be no chance for him to continue fighting. Lin Chuan used a movement skill that he had never used before. He cut through space to dodge Night Sorrow's attack. This scene made everyone dumbfounded. Originally, they thought that it would be a fight. However, it had turned into one side attacking and one side running. It was completely incomparable. Chapter 2046. With a turn of his body, Lin Chuan landed outside the martial arts arena. However, there was a muffled sound behind him. Knight Sorrow's halberd had created a huge hole in the solid arena. Looking at Lin Chuan, who landed outside the arena, Knight Sorrow was stunned for a moment. Didn't we agree to have a good fight? Why are you running? Do you think I'm stupid? Lin Chuan looked at Knight Sorrow speechlessly. Too boring. Knight Sorrow's right hand shook and the reincarnation heavenly halberd landed in the holster on his back. Boring. Even if I'm bored, will I still be good? Lin Chuan heaved a sigh of relief. He knew that it was because he ran fast. Otherwise, Knight Sorrow would have been seriously injured and vomited blood. After Knight Sorrow sat down, Emperor Tang announced the result of the battle. Lin Chuan had also returned. He was still in shock from the battle. He was mentally prepared to lose, but he didn't expect to lose so easily. Knight Sorrow, you are so unkind. Can't you leave me some face? After sitting down, Lin Chuan looked at Knight Sorrow and said, How am I unkind? You were the one who strongly requested for me to fight in my strongest state. In the end, you were a coward and ran out of the arena. What else do you have to say? Huang Jia looked at Lin Chuan with disdain. What do you mean by that? Can't you see the situation? You are ruthless. You can try again later. Lin Chuan was speechless. I'm not as stupid as you. Huang Jie replied to Lin Chuan. After resting for a while, the third round of challenges began. However, Knight Sorrow and the few people around him kept talking. Great Commander, after this meeting of heroes is over, I plan to go into seclusion for a period of time. Lin Yun said to Knight Sorrow. Will you choose Reincarnation Island or return to the Blood Chelan Mountain Tribe? Knight Sorrow asked. It's the same. I will talk to Great Commander when the time comes. Lin Yun wasn't sure herself. After sparring with others, she had some inspiration. In the past, she had never fought with anyone, so she lacked actual combat experience. Now, she had made up for it. Knight Sorrow, is Samsara Island still recruiting? Lin Chuan looked at Knight Sorrow and asked. I need to think about it before accepting others. If you want to go, that's not a problem. But first, you have to abide by the rules of Samsara Island, Knight Sorrow said. Lin Chuan nodded. I understand. We'll talk more after the conference. After the third round of challenges began, some people gave up. The original ranking was very fair, and with the addition of 2 rounds of challenges, there was no room for further challenges. Long Jin fought a battle and was ranked 15th. He was a 7-star emperor, which meant that he was a low-level emperor. This achievement was already very hard to come by. Long Hao challenged Duan Qianshui, but Duan Qianshui still had an ultimate move. Long Hao lost and was still ranked 6th. After Long Hao, no one else challenged him. Lin Yun also gave up. When it was Lin Chuan's turn, Lin Chuan looked at Huang Jia and said, Let's postpone our battle for a while. We definitely have to fight. Do you think I'm afraid of you? Huang Jia snorted. Lin Chuan didn't challenge, so it was Huang Jia's turn. Looking at Knight Sorrow, Huang Jia gave up the challenge. She knew that there was no hope at all. Knight Sorrow's battle with her was completely a joke. If she fought with Lin Chuan in that state, she would also be defeated instantly. When it was Knight Sorrow's turn, Knight Sorrow stood up. Elder Emperor Tang, there is a limit of 5 challengers. What about the challengers below? Knight Sorrow looked at Zhuge Ho. Now that there was nothing else, he wanted to teach Zhuge Ho a lesson. Knight Sorrow, forget it. Some things can be discussed later. After all, this is the meeting of heroes. Emperor Tang understood Knight Sorrow's intentions and tried to dissuade him. Tran Hung also shook her head at Night Sorrow. Then let's postpone it for a while. Night Sorrow sat down after he finished speaking. Zhuge He heaved a sigh of relief. He was afraid that Night Sorrow would challenge him. If Night Sorrow challenged him, he could only admit defeat. Once he was in the arena, Night Sorrow would definitely kill him. If he was slow to react, he might not even have the chance to admit defeat. After the challenge ended, Emperor Tang announced the result to the judges. Tran Hung stood up and took out a golden scroll. She then threw it into the air and engraved the names on it. 30 names were constantly emitting golden light. Night Sorrow's name was the most dazzling and it steadily suppressed the names below. After keeping the scroll, Tran Hung threw the scroll to the Grand Elder. In the future, the 4 rankings will be kept by the Elders Association. Remember, everyone is a cultivator. Everyone should be proud to be on the rankings. In the future, the meeting of heroes will be held once every million years. Tran Hung explained and then turned to leave. He was very satisfied with the meeting of heroes this time because the humans performed very well. The Yi family took the first place on the 3 rankings. This was the rise of the human emperor's family and it was unstoppable. QD Head H Hair J Sharp, Night Sorrow, you and your Yi family are the big winners this time. Do you want to invite everyone for a feast? Blood Kirin King Chiroe stood up from the judges' seats and came to Night Sorrow's side. That's for sure. Do you want to hold it in the mansion or in the Night Moon Villa of the Ethereal Empire? Night Sorrow was a little hesitant. Let's hold it in your mansion. Whoever wants to go can go. If you want to go to the Night Moon Villa of the Ethereal Empire, it would be more convenient to have the teleportation circle. However, it would be troublesome to invite this and invite that. It would be inappropriate to not invite them, the Golden Dragon King said. Alright, Night Sorrow felt that the Golden Dragon King's words made sense. If it was held in the mansion, no one would be picky. Nan Yong, you guys bring the team back. Also, go and get some good wine and meat for the brothers to reward them, Night Sorrow said to Nan Yong. Nan Yong brought the people of the Reincarnation Island back. Night Sorrow also brought the people of the Humanitarian League back to the mansion. Everyone was very happy. This meeting of heroes brought both fame and fortune to Night Sorrow, the Humanitarian League and the Reincarnation Island. Night Sorrow received the guests. Pu Luo, the Great Demon King, Lin Piaomiao and the other people of the Humanitarian League were discussing things in the attic. They were discussing how to get rid of Zhuge Qian. First, let me state our attitude. Zhuge Qian is a scum. We are not taking care of him because of his grudge with the League Master. It's the Humanitarian League's responsibility to get rid of a scourge like him, Pu Luo said. Then don't tell the League Master. The League Master accepted his own punishment last time. If we let him get rid of Zhuge Qian again, it will affect his reputation. Let's split up now and gather at my mansion at night. Then, we will kill Zhuge Qian together. Zhuge He won't let him live either. We will kill him along the way. The question is, how confident are we? Yu Zhu asked. He's about the same as me. Sect Master Lin and the Great Demon King won't let him escape. I can kill him myself. To prevent any accidents from happening, let's do it together, Pu Luo said. Then, the few of them settled the matter and went to do their own things. Chapter 2047. Night Sorrow, you have to secure your first place on the heaven list. Don't let anyone catch up to you. Lin Chuan and Huang Jia appeared. You or her. I'll be going for the Heavenly Tao Emperor Tribulation later. If you guys want to challenge me, you'd better hurry up. If you don't, your chances will get smaller and smaller. Night Sorrow said. Huang Jia and Lin Chuan looked at each other and sighed. Accept our fate. It's our sorrow to live in the same era as you. You're here. Let's have something to eat later. Night Sorrow invited the two to sit down. Don't worry about us. I'll go and meet the elders. Huang Jia went to the pavilion where Heavenly Astral King and Huang Ling were. I don't have many friends. I came to Tianhuang City with a token from the elders in my tribe. Lin Chuan said. Your White Tiger tribe doesn't interact with Tianhuang City. Night Sorrow asked, puzzled. According to Night Sorrow's understanding, the White Tiger tribe was more mysterious than the Black Tortoise tribe and the Vermilion Bird tribe. They rarely appeared. Not really. It's mainly because the White Tiger tribe fought with the experts from the outside world once. The impact was greater and more than half of our tribe members were lost. The Grand Elder ordered that unless something big happened in the celestial realm, the White Tiger tribe would be sealed. Lin Chuan said. I understand. I've been to the White Tiger constellation once. Haha. If you don't have any friends, I'll take care of you. Night Sorrow brought Lin Chuan to a guest room. Since you, Night Sorrow, treat me as a friend, I won't be unreasonable. You don't have to be too polite with me. Lin Chuan nodded to Night Sorrow. The banquet was held in the evening. Lin Piaomia returned to the Ethereal Empire and invited the best banquet master in the Ethereal Empire to organize it. To the surprise of the guests, Tran Hung and the Grand Elder were both present. Look at the original version of chapter in section N on P, Night Sorrow. I'm happy to see you rise. You're going to take on a big responsibility. I won't say anything about you confining yourself to the Reincarnation Island for 30 years, nor will I object. You can settle down on the Reincarnation Island, Tran Hung said after receiving a toast from Night Sorrow. Thank you for your support and encouragement, Castellan. Night Sorrow saluted Tran Hung. Your Yi clan has done well this time. Your clan has taken 3 rankings out of the 4 rankings. If you were given some time, your accomplishments would be even greater. Also, I have some personal matters to tell you. Do you still remember Duan Qianshui? He is a descendant of my family. He wants to join the First Army. What do you think? The Grand Elder was also very happy. At the same time, he threw out a sentence that shocked Night Sorrow. There were many humans, but their cultivation talents were not as good as the divine beasts. Duan Qianshui was able to stand firmly at the 5th place of the Emperor Heaven ranking. This showed that he was very outstanding. Of course, but I have to think about how to arrange it, Night Sorrow said after being surprised for a moment. He knows the rules. He has to follow the rules of the Reincarnation Island. If he doesn't listen, you can deal with him however you want. Come here. The Grand Elder shouted at Duan Qianshui who was sitting in the corner. He came with Long Hao. Night Sorrow also received him, but he didn't expect him to be a descendant of the Grand Elder. Greetings, Commander Yi. I want to join you because I feel that the soldiers under you can do something. I will also follow the rules set by you. This has nothing to do with the Grand Elder being my ancestor. Duan Qianshui also expressed his attitude. Alright, Lin Chuan also wants to join the Reincarnation Island. We all know each other, so we can talk more when the time comes. Night Sorrow nodded at Duan Qianshui. Then Long Yixing spoke and directly shoved Long Hao to Night Sorrow. In his words, you can hit and scold him if you want. Since Long Yixing spoke, Night Sorrow naturally had to accept. Everyone who came to Night Sorrow's residence sincerely gave Night Sorrow and the Yi family their blessings. They also paid close attention to the forces of the Reincarnation Island. While drinking, the Golden Dragon King looked around and then looked at Night Sorrow. Where are your brothers from the Humanitarian League? Where did Pu Luo and the others go? Night Sorrow turned around and stood up. He realized that the elders of the Humanitarian League were gone, including Lin Piaomiao. Luo, where are Sister Xian and Pu Luo? Yi Shang asked Mandela when he didn't see anyone. Elder Pu Luo and the others left at noon. Sister Xian arranged a banquet for them, but they were still there. I didn't see them after that. Datura said. **T. Night Sorrow knew that something bad was about to happen. Long Jin, go to Zhuge Qian's residence and stop them. Tianyu, go to their residences and look for them. At this moment, two old men arrived at Yi Shang's residence and reported something to the Great Elder in a low voice. Night Sorrow, you don't have to arrange anything. Pu Luo, the Demon King, Ruisi, Yuzhu, and Elder Lin went to Zhuge Qian's residence and killed him. Zhuge He was not spared either. After killing Zhuge Qian, they went to the holy capital. The Grand Elder shook his head helplessly. Night Sorrow slapped his forehead. How will the elders deal with this? I, Night Sorrow, will take the blame. He originally planned to improve his cultivation and deal with Zhuge Qian. He didn't expect Pu Luo and the others to act faster. Tianhuang City doesn't forbid martial arts. The elders only care about racial wars and things that hurt the celestial realm. They don't care about conflicts between individuals and forces. At most, they can persuade people to reconcile. Zhuge Qian was killed because he didn't have the ability. The elders can't do anything about it, Tran Hung said. Night Sorrow, you have to talk about Pu Luo, the Demon King, and Elder Lin. Zhuge Qian is problematic, but if you don't do something about it, people will think that the Humanitarian League is too overbearing. The Grand Elder said. Night Sorrow will talk about it. Night Sorrow was worried about the same thing as the Grand Elder. He was worried that people would say that the Humanitarian League was too overbearing. Pu Luo is the successor of the Law Enforcement Grandmaster, the Great Demon King, and Grandmaster Lin, the Great Elder and the Disciplined Grandmaster. This is too worrying. The Grandmaster shook his head. Actually, it's nothing. Zhuge Qian was too much. He deserved to die. The Golden Dragon King said. He was happy to hear that Zhuge Qian was dead. Kill when you need to. This is true bravery. This is what the Humanitarian League should do. The Heavenly Astral King also supported the Humanitarian League. He knew about the things that happened after Zhuge Qian appeared. This is a small matter. That Imo Tianji should still be in the ethereal dynasty. You have to be careful. Some opportunities can't fall into her hands. Also, I'll leave Reincarnation Island to you. You can't let the demon-winged race land on the island. You can't let them do anything on Reincarnation Island. Tran Hung stood up and left after reminding Night Sorrow. Grand Elder, don't be angry. I'll ask them to come back now and apologize to you. Night Sorrow's body shook. His clone left the mansion and went to the teleportation array. Chapter 2048. There were cultivators who had their memories sealed, and there were also cultivators who had reincarnated. Most of them would awaken their memories at the 8th level, and the latest would not be past the 9th level. In other words, after entering the 9th level of the Martial Emperor realm, some memories would appear. Currently, Mo Tianji couldn't contact Jun Xuanji. She didn't dare to look for Jun Xuanji because she didn't dare to move. The Divine Capital and the Heavenly Desolation City were absolute forbidden zones for her. Whether it was the Heavenly Desolation City Lord or King Yawu, it would be too easy for them to kill her. They wouldn't be like Lu Chiha and the others, who would leave her a chance to live. Under such circumstances, Mo Tianji quickly increased her cultivation while waiting for Jun Xuanji's soul to awaken. Jun Xuanji's soul would awaken when he entered the Divine Emperor realm. At that time, Jun Xuanji would have 2 sets of memories. Once Jun Xuanji confirmed that she was Mo Tianji, he would contact her. While she was thinking, Mo Tianji also heard some news about the meeting of heroes held in Tianhuang City. This made Mo Tianji give up on the idea of going into seclusion in the space world. She wanted to wait for a while. The meeting of heroes would have a result soon. Perhaps she could analyze the situation of the Heaven Realm from the results of the meeting. Chapter 10, Section 1, 4, Knight Sorrow arrived at the Humanitarian League headquarters. At the moment, the other 6 core members of the Humanitarian League were there. Knight Sorrow, why are you here? Lin Piaomiao asked. You killed Zhuge Qian. How could you hide such a big thing? Why didn't you call me? Did something happen? Why didn't I shoulder it with everyone? Knight Sorrow sat down and said. Zhuge Qian is different from Yu Kuan. Yu Kuan was marked as a traitor in the Elders' Council. We can kill him. But Zhuge Qian is different. Zhuge Qian is the great guardian of the Divine Devil Castle. It's normal for the Elders' Council to have some reaction after killing him. But if we leave, we don't have to accept the punishment from the Elders' Council, Pu Luo said. Yes, they can't expel us from the Elders' Council. Then we just have to hide, Great Demon King said after taking a sip of tea. If you run away, what's the point of me staying in the heavenly desolate city? I'm a little angry, but I'm not angry because you guys killed people. I'm angry because you guys isolated me and didn't want to bear the burden with me. Knight Sorrow looked at the people present and said. Pu Luo and the Great Demon King didn't answer Knight Sorrow's question because this was what they lacked. Follow me back to the Heavenly Desolation City. The Grand Elder is still in my residence. We just need to explain the situation to him. The City Master has made it clear that the Council of Elders is responsible for the stability of the Celestial Realm and the war among species. We won't interfere in personal conflicts, Knight Sorrow said. Good. Regardless of whether the Council of Elders cares or not, if the Grand Elder knows about it, we have to explain it to him. The Humanitarian League still needs to develop. Pu Luo nodded. Knight Sorrow led the 6 members of the Humanitarian League back to his residence in the Heavenly Desolate City. Pu Luo, what happened to you? If there's a problem, solve it. How can you run away? Grand Elder looked at Pu Luo and asked. It's not running away. It's not easy to face it. Zhuge Qian deserved to be killed. We didn't do anything wrong by killing him. The Council of Elders will punish us, but we can't openly oppose it. It's difficult for us. Pu Luo said. I want to teach you guys a lesson, but it's not a punishment. I'm an elder and have the obligation to watch you guys walk the right path instead of acting recklessly. But since you guys are back, let's not talk about it anymore. Sit down. Grand Elder waved his hand at Pu Luo and the others. Pu Luo, the Great Demon King, Lin Piaomiao, Rui Si, Yu Zhu, and Fen Tian were all elites of the human race. They were all bloodthirsty seedlings. The Grand Elder valued them, so he didn't want them to be estranged from the Council of Elders. This was also the reason why he didn't stop Knight Sorrow from calling them back. The celebration banquet was still going on. It was only slightly affected by Zhuge Qian's death, but it wasn't really affected. Huang Jie, Heavenly Astral King, Huang Ling, and Wu Lingfei sat at a table that was relatively far away. Huang Jie, don't you have any thoughts of joining the Reincarnation Island? Heavenly Astral King asked. Heavenly Astral King, I've thought about it. But because of this elite assembly, I've seen the battle between Commander Knight and Lin Chuan. I have some inspiration. I feel that there are still many things that need to be improved in the Arctic world. I plan to return to the tribe and cultivate. Huang Jie spoke her thoughts. There's nothing wrong with your thoughts. But if you miss today, it won't be so easy for you to join the Reincarnation Island. Today, Knight Sorrow didn't reject anyone because of some elders. It's hard to say what will happen in the future. Huang Ling said. The Reincarnation Island is a gathering place for elites. But I don't have to join. I have my own path. Huang Jie said. Heavenly Astral King shook his head and didn't speak. Huang Ling wanted to say something, but she didn't either. As the banquet came to an end, some people who weren't close to Night Sorrow left. Huang Jia also bowed to Heavenly Astral King, Huang Jia, and Wu Lingfei before leaving Night Sorrow's residence. Father, Mother, you still have something to say, but you didn't, Wu Lingfei asked as she watched Huang Jia walk out of the residence. Yes, I wanted to persuade him, but I felt that it was meaningless. Some opportunities were forcefully given, and the nature changed, Heavenly Astral King said. Father, I don't understand. Wu Lingfei shook her head. Silly daughter, think about it. Why are so many elites gathered around Night Sorrow? This was fate, and it was also fate. Those who are close to the body of merit are blessed with providence. This is a very simple principle. Night Sorrow is not simply a body of merit. He is a merit monarch, comparable to the human sovereign of the previous reincarnation. The cultivators around Night Sorrow, if they are not idiots, will have some achievements. This is also the reason why some people are willing to speak up and send their juniors to Night Sorrow's side. Huang Jia doesn't like it and can't see through this opportunity. There is no other way. Huang Ling looked at her daughter and said. Her eyes were full of love. She only had one daughter, and she had only been by her side for a short time. In addition, Wu Lingfei was sensible, so her love for her was particularly strong. She naturally explained in detail what Wu Lingfei asked. After Wu Lingfei understood the reason, she shook her head helplessly. Baby, why aren't you saying anything? Heavenly Astral King smiled. Father, if others look down on Night Sorrow, I might say that they don't know what's good for them. Huang Jia is from the Ice Phoenix clan, so I can only say that I am helpless. Wu Lingfei poured a cup of wine for Heavenly Astral King and said. Right, daughter, what do you plan to do next? Your mother and I have come out of seclusion. You don't have to stay in the Ice Phoenix clan. You can develop wherever you want. Your mother and I will support you, Heavenly Astral King said. Thank you, Father. Thank you, Mother. I want to go to Reincarnation Island. The members of the God-slaying team are like family to me, Wu Lingfei said. Heavenly Astral King and Huang Ling nodded, supporting Wu Lingfei's decision. Daughter, the celestial realm is a bit chaotic. You have to be careful. Mo Tianji is still in the celestial realm. This is a hidden danger. Take this spirit pearl. Huang Ling handed Wu Lingfei a white pearl. Chapter 2049. Mother, you've given me a lot of treasures recently. What's this for? Wu Lingfei asked while holding the white bowl. Your father and I only have one daughter. If I don't give you treasures, who should I give them to? This spiritual pearl is a protective spiritual pearl. It was refined with an iceberg as its core. Its defensive power is very strong. My soul power is inside. As long as you activate it, I'll know and rescue you in time. Huang Ling smiled. Thank you, Mother. Wu Lingfei hugged Huang Ling, Heavenly Star. I was very unwilling to accept the chief of the Ice Phoenix race. Because of this chief, our family was separated for a long time. Huang Ling looked at her husband and said. I understand. This rule is a bit unreasonable. However, it involves ourselves. It's too selfish of us to oppose it. However, this kind of thing can't happen to me. I'm a rare golden phoenix of the Ice Phoenix race. I'm qualified to change some clan rules. We'll talk about this later, Heavenly Astral King said. Heavenly Star, you've changed. Some things don't even need a reason. Hearing Heavenly Astral King's words, Wang Ling raised her head and looked at him seriously. It's just that I've figured out some things. In Night Sorrow's words, no matter what my status is in the Ice Phoenix race, I'm first and foremost a father and husband. I have the responsibility to make my family happy, Heavenly Astral King said. Yes, first of all, our family must be happy. Then there's other things. Huang Ling was a little emotional. Night Sorrow sent the guests away. Those who didn't leave were the ones who stayed in the mansion. Several people from the Humanitarian League were in the lobby of the mansion. Night Sorrow, what do you think we should do next? The Great Demon King asked. There's no need to really destroy the Zhuge family. After all, only Zhuge Qian and Zhuge He have bad characters. If we kill them all, it'll seem like we're not magnanimous enough, Night Sorrow said. Then let them go. If the Zhuge family doesn't know when to stop, then we'll be ruthless. Pu Luo nodded. I'll be going to Samsara Island in a couple of days. I'll have to confine myself for 30 years. You can deal with the Human Tao Alliance as you see fit, but there are some things you can't be too radical about, said Yishan. Don't worry. It was our fault this time. There will be no such thing in the future, Pu Luo said. After killing him, we also felt that it was inappropriate. The Humanitarian League is a brotherhood. No matter if it's a good thing or a bad thing, we have to face it together. We shouldn't have left you out, Yu Zhu said. It's not a big deal. As for the matters in Starmoon City, all of you can help me look after them as well. However, I'm still worried about the Misty Kingdom. After all, Mo Tianji might be in the Misty Kingdom and Starmoon City, Night Sorrow said. If he dares to come out, I'll kill him. The Great Demon King clenched his fists and said. After chatting for a while, everyone went to rest. Night Sorrow, Lin Piaomiao, and Datura stayed in the main hall of the mansion. I'll leave the family to you. If anything happens, immediately enter the 9 Zones world to defend. Let's not talk about the celestial realm. In the 9 Zones world, it won't be easy for anyone to cause trouble, Night Sorrow said. Don't worry. If Mo Tianji wants to cause trouble, she'll have to show her strength first. The Yi family isn't weak. If she dares to come out, don't let me catch her. If I catch her, I'll kill her, Lin Piaomiao said. I know you're not weak, but you still have to be careful. I'll ground myself for 30 years. During this time, you have to make sure I don't have to worry, Night Sorrow said. Seeing that Night Sorrow was still worried, Lin Piaomiao thought for a moment and told Night Sorrow that after Night Sorrow went to Samsara Island, the Yi family would return to the Chaos Realm to develop. They wanted to settle down for 30 years. This way, I'll be more at ease. If anyone wants to break through to the Emperor Realm and needs to feel the Celestial Realm's aura, you can go to Xinhua City. It's stable there, Night Sorrow said. The 9 Zones world didn't have the shackles of the Emperor Realm, but some of the shackles in the Chaos Realm still existed. After telling Night Sorrow, he felt more at ease. After a night's rest, Night Sorrow called Lin Chuan, Long Hao, and Duan Qianshui together. Lin Yun was also there. Lin Yun, what's your decision? Night Sorrow asked Lin Yun. I'm going to Samsara Island, Lin Yun said. Update. Fast unspecified currency * go up. Lin Chuan, do the 3 of you have anything to do? If you do, take care of it. If not, we'll set off later. Night Sorrow looked at the 3 of them and asked. They'll know whether I'm going or not, Lin Chuan said. Duan Qianshui and Long Hao also said that they didn't have anything to do. Lin Yun, bring them to the encampment first. As for the arrangements, I'll take care of it later, Night Sorrow said to Lin Yun. Lin Yun left with Lin Chuan and the others. Night Sorrow went to the Heaven Wasteland Tower and cupped his hands. Then, he went to see the Grand Elder and bid him farewell. Go. 30 years of self-confinement is also a time for you to settle down. It's also time for you to develop. As for the stability of Starmoon City and Ethereal Imperial City, I'll take care of it. As for Duan Qianshui, you don't have to worry about him. He's my descendant. It's better to be strict with him. If he doesn't rise, then our Duan clan will really decline. I'm the Grand Elder. I have to think for the celestial realm, but I have my own feelings too. I don't want my descendants to decline, the Grand Elder said. Knight Sorrow understands. I'll do my best. Knight Sorrow nodded. He was also a parent. He knew how much the Grand Elder cared about his descendants. Knight Sorrow left the small world of the Grand Elder and returned to his mansion. He had a drink with a few people from the Humanitarian League. Then, he went to the encampment of the First Army. The matters in the Heaven Wasteland Tower have been settled. We'll head to the Reincarnation Island now. Now, each division, take your men and set off. Knight Sorrow gave the order to set off. After Knight Sorrow gave the order, each division and their men set off. After half an hour, the 4 divisions gathered at the Demon Mountain encampment. Nan Yong, take your men and guard here. You can keep in touch with the Broken Mountain encampment. The 2 encampments can communicate with each other. Also, set up a teleportation formation. When there's no battle, no one is allowed to use it except for commanders and captains. It must be guarded by someone. It's a strategic teleportation formation. Knight Sorrow said to Nan Yong. Then, Knight Sorrow led the others to the Broken Mountain encampment. After arriving at the encampment, Knight Sorrow's original body went to the area with the strongest void vortex. He continued to cultivate in the encampment where he had been cultivating. As for the daily affairs, his doppelganger could take care of them. While his original body went to cultivate, Knight Sorrow's doppelganger called the commanders, Lin Chuan, Lin Yun, Long Hao, and Duan Qianshui to his tent. He had to make some arrangements. After waving his hand for everyone to sit down, Knight Sorrow looked at the Golden Dragon King who came back with him. Lord Golden Dragon King, do you have any opinions on the arrangements? This king is only here to prevent the enemy's giants from attacking. You can decide everything else. The Golden Dragon King shook his head. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.